All right, everybody who's watching, thank you so much for being patient. We're having some technical difficulties running 2 streams, so we're getting that fixed up. And but I want to welcome you. If you have a question anytime during the day, you can text me personally. It'll come right to my phone. It's actually our new community chat that we'll be rolling out here in the next couple, probably 4 weeks. But you'd be an early joiner. You can simply text a question if you have a question anytime during the day to 574-498-3551. All right, thanks, and we'll be here in just a second. I'm going to unmute you up here. Your lapel is on. So, and when he talks, it should shake it.
All right, everybody, we're going to get going here in just a second. Thank you for dealing with the patience of working through a technical issue. We've been doing this since, April when COVID hit. We took everything virtual. We did our virtual sales conference on April 7th and 8th of last year. And I've never had GoToMeeting lock up like that where the entire thing had to be rebooted. I did have one event in the afternoon where my computer lost power and I had to jump back in after 15 minutes of literally getting everything set up on my backup computer. So we always roll with it. You know, we all deal with issues in life. We all deal with technical problems. It's one of the things that makes us special in helping merchants with that. This is just a little bit different way, right? So give me a second and we'll get going. Yep. Nate, are you ready? All right, Blair, is the record light on red? So, you just got to...
Get locked up.
Cards? Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mark.
I've got mine here. I brought it here
Are now.
Devin, whenever you get a chance, fill out the menu and then put your name at the top so I can get that ready for you, all right? Thank you.
Sorry guys, GoToMeeting just crashed again virtually, so we're either going to do this and record it and share it with everybody later and just go live, or...
All right, thanks for those who have stuck around. We're still working on getting live here. You can hear me, that's good. I can hear myself, that's good. So yeah, we'll be going live here in just a moment. Thanks for watching. Looks like we got about 55 of you have stuck around so far. So we may start and stop the stream just to get a clean start if you're watching right now. So hit refresh, it'll still come to all the same spots. It will just, may have to refresh. I'm not sure how they will do that. But I'll just stay on live. We've been live for 22 minutes as we've kind of go. But as you can see, we've got a house here. We'll probably be switching camera angles a little bit during the time because we've have a little issue with the GoToWebinar settings. So we'll be there in a second.
difficulties that we were experiencing to try to get both a live audience and a virtual audience as much value as we can possibly give you through the course of the day. Central time, okay, is when we're going to take a break, hour-long break to eat lunch. Make yourself something, DoorDash it, go get something, come back. You're going to have time, heat up your burrito in your microwave, whatever you want to do, right? So we're going to enjoy SDK here. And then, like I said, drinks afterwards. So at the end of the day, I'll have drink tickets. Everybody will get a drink ticket. The full bar will be open. You can go redeem that drink ticket for beer, wine, a basic cocktail. After that, the rest is on you, right? So, we want to have fun, but most importantly, like we've done with all of these events, we want to bring a crap ton of value to every single person that participates. How many people here, I know Caleb, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Caleb later on, but this is the first time he's experiencing anything with us. And how many times, this is the first experience either in person or how many guys attended virtually in something? I guess who hasn't, besides Caleb, who has never done anything with us? Okay, so a few of y'all, which is awesome. What you're going to experience through this. So these Transcend events, long story short, started with the sales conference in 2018. We did one in 19. In 19, we did a couple road shows to kind of fill the gaps in between. And what we found was we couldn't wait 1 year to the next to bring you guys value, right? Our industry advances so quickly. You can't wait a year to learn about new stuff and sales tactics and everything. So we started doing a couple sporadic ones. They were so successful, we decided, hey, let's just go with this and we'll do one a month. So in 2020, in February, we were in Boston. In Atlanta, March, we were in Atlanta. Then a little thing called COVID hit. And we had to take everything virtual. And this is a perfect example of kind of goes into the day of what we're talking about with big opportunities. Is we could have sat back and like most companies did and just kind of, okay, let's see what happens. Let's ride this thing out. Oh, no. We doubled down and we said, we have so many sales partners that need what we can give them. We've got to stay connected. Do we need to be present in the room to bring value to you guys? And the answer to that was no. And we went virtual. Now, we're able to kind of do a hybrid. Virtual is never going to go away. That's why I'm sorry, I spent 25 minutes to make sure the people that it took the time to invest at home or their office could also participate in this, just like all of you guys. And if you've consumed any of my content, especially over the last 6 months, you know, and this is a Craig Rochelle thing, I've really been pounding on that we have 3 primary assets: time, energy, and money. And most people look at money as I spend it or I invest it. But I encourage everybody to look at their time and energy in the exact same way that people look at their money. If I spend my money, I can't invest my money. If I spend my time, I can't invest my time. That's why you guys right now, I have an obligation. You are investing your time here with me today, with our team, people that are online. You're taking that choice and you're investing that time. We want to deliver on that investment. So I want to kind of get into our breakdown on what we're talking about with big opportunities. You're going to hear stuff about enterprise accounts, products, programs, with a bunch of B2B focus as well, business to business. Personally, I feel the business to business market is the most underserved in our industry, huge opportunity, and there's huge volume and profits to be made there. So, but before we do that, I do want to talk about a particular story of mine that I have, and you can see the agenda that we have going on. Oh, and before I get going on my blown opportunity that created my biggest opportunity, Sean isn't here yet, the team from Cash Buoy. They will be here later. They are helping sponsor this event. So I'll have Sean up after lunch to say a couple words. They did a session last fall on one of the road shows. They did something in May. And for those of you who are newer, in your partner portals, partners.paymenthub.com, under tools and training, you can watch all of our past events, right? Every single session is broken out in there and recorded. We're recording all of this. Part of the work I'll be doing this weekend is breaking out these individual sessions, editing them, and putting them up in that portal over the next couple weeks for you guys. So one of the things I talked about in May was timeline, right? How many guys were on the May Roadshow? Because I guarantee you not many of you guys were present down in Bonita Springs, but how many of you guys participated in the May Roadshow? Virtually, yep. All right, just one. So for you, you might remember, everybody else is going to be new. Now, granted, it's summertime, people are doing vacations. I encourage you to keep working hard because the work you put in now is going to feed your pipeline and your results later, right? Don't get complacent. But one of the things I talked about in May was you got to view what you're doing in a timeline perspective. It's so easy to get caught up in a loss or a win. And I'm not going to put the slides back up on that because you can go back and look at it in May. I threw up my timeline, right? I'll be 44 in a couple weeks. I was born in 1977. I started my first job at 14. I actually started working full-time at 17 and have not stopped, okay? But I still view, I'm going to live to like 90. I know that. If I don't, then oh well, but I'm living that way. I have no plans on retiring anytime soon, right? And so I look at my professional career, I'm like halfway in. I still have so much time. And when you start looking at things like that, because it's easy to go, oh my gosh, I tried to get this account and I didn't get it, you put your head down, right? That's like saying I dropped a pass on the second down of a 4-quarter game. Like, that's not the world that I live in, and I want to encourage you guys for that too. And I think there's no better story to illustrate that when it comes to big opportunities than to share one, my biggest professional failure ever. I've never shared this in this kind of space. There's a few people that know about it. And I'm going to share it now. I'm going to leave out names and details, but if I hadn't failed, I wouldn't be here today with you today doing this. Okay, so back in 2018, I was able to join NAB at the corporate level. And I came on board and I got thrown into enterprise sales, our Caribbean and South American Latin program, ISV work. I got involved with the partner experience, working with Ryan, and we did the conference and all this stuff. But frankly, I got thrown into stuff that I had no clue how to do. And I was like, all right, I'll take it on. I'll do it. I learned. Didn't know anything about international business. Learned that. International processing. Learned that. ISV. What was that? Learned that, right? So I'm diving in and doing all these things. We have a great conference. And through part of our enterprise sales and the EPX part, we're working on this big project. I was spearheading this thing, okay? And we had a big meeting, and this was February 2019. And I had scheduled to fly people in from Delaware, from Visa, all of this stuff for this big program. We had meetings during the day, we're pumped, we were excited, and I was presenting what we were going to do to the entire C-suite of North American Bank Card. So here we are, it was a Wednesday night, I believe, and this big conference room, it's like the size of this room, right? With every single person that mattered in the NAB organization there and present. I had my team lead, Charlie, sitting next to me. I had the other people that were going to be running this program. We go to start. I get 2 slides in. Wait, Keith. This isn't what I wanted. Okay. And we start going through that. Nope, this isn't what I wanted. I asked for this specifically. And in that moment, he goes, I said specifically in a meeting, this is one of the execs for NAB, I said specifically in a meeting in December that I wanted this, and this. And like seconds in my head, I realized one of my best friends was at that meeting. The guy to my left who was supposed to run this program was at that meeting. I was not. I was having a baby. Okay? But in that moment, I had 2 choices. I could either in front of everybody make excuses, or I could own it. All at that point that I could say this is where, this was a make it, break it moment for me. This was me wanting to go to that next level, me being an executive, me taking on more responsibility. Okay? And all I can say was, I'm sorry, that's not what we prepared today. Because if I made excuses, that meant I would be throwing the guy under the bus sitting to my left that was supposed to run the program. I'd be throwing one of my best friends under the bus. And at the end of the day, excuses don't matter. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to do that today. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to do that today. We get done, that meeting lasted like 5 minutes. Okay? I go back to my hotel room and I'm like blown away. I'm like, holy crap, did this just happen? And I'm like, mad. Your first reactions, you're kind of mad. Like, I just blew my opportunity. I blew my big opportunity. And I'm sitting there trying to figure out how it happened. I started going through emails, right? For the next 2 hours, sorting through all these emails. And then the next thing you know, sure enough, I didn't have to be at that meeting. It was in a matter of 3 or 4 emails. I just didn't put it together. We'd had a baby. I was distracted. I wasn't focused on work. Then I got mad at my wife for not allowing me to focus on work, right? The blame game started, okay? The next day, I'm meeting with our team. All right, this is what they want. We're going to do this. Boom, boom, boom. Everybody flies back. I'm getting ready to leave, and Ryan Malloy texts me, hey, you still here? Yep. Come to my office real quick. Okay. I go into his office. He shuts the door, and he goes, I heard about last night. I was like, yeah. He goes, well, we got to talk. And they made the decision that you're not the guy. And just like that, that opportunity that I wanted, that I thought I had, was gone. And it was, you can either go back to selling payment processing, or you can focus on what you do best, and that's dive in with me and my team and the partner experience. And that's what I chose. I drove home from Troy, Michigan, disappointed, pissed, hurt. You know, at the end of the day, that was the direction I was going anyways, but I didn't like the way that it went. But again, timeline picture. If that hadn't happened, if I hadn't had that huge professional failure, I would not be here today. The stuff that our sales partners, and I say this in the most humble way possible, because what you all have achieved over the last year and a half is amazing. I have not seen any numbers across any other company in the industry with what you guys have done from a portfolio growth. And if I hadn't failed and decided to take a different look at an opportunity, I would have missed my biggest opportunity. My biggest opportunity has been the last year and a half focusing on helping you guys win. My last year and a half have been me waking up every single day, having a greater impact on people's lives, careers, income, happiness, and fulfillment than I would have ever had if I'd had that position that I was hoping to get. And the reason I'm sharing that story is because as we talk about big opportunities and big things, right, it takes a lot of preparation to get there. It takes an open mind. It sits there and it takes, like if you take a loss or a win, don't get caught up in either one because you have no idea what's coming around the corner for you. And so I kind of wanted to open with that story because that's part of my professional DNA. And each and every single one of you has your own professional DNA that brought you to this point. Your experiences, your past jobs, and you know, I'm going to mention Caleb. I hope not to put him on the spot too much. So Caleb is joining us today. A little bit about Caleb and his professional DNA. We have very similar ones. I worked at Wildman Uniform and Linen for 11 and a half years. Some of you guys have heard that in some of my content, especially when I did the customer service one from in May's Roadshow and selling with customer service mindset. I hired Caleb 2007 at Wildman, right? You were working at Pella Windows, right? A factory? I hired Caleb in his sales. He then replaced me as sales manager when I moved on. He stayed on. So as of just a couple weeks ago, he put in 14 years with Wildman. Him and Wildman have parted ways. He's moving to California to take on an opportunity there with family land. Him and his wife and kids are moving there. And I'm like, he calls me up. I'm in Florida a few weeks ago. He calls me up to tell me, I'm like, dude, you got to come learn this. Come to Chicago as my guest. Experience this. This is something you can do anywhere and work on your own terms. And so Caleb's joining us today with no industry experience. But he has a lot of the same professional DNA that I had when I got into this industry back in 2012. So again, our professional DNAs have wins, losses, experiences, relationships, influence. Really kind of take a step back on what you think merchant service sales is, selling terminals, even point of sales, as we go through the content today, because you're going to want to have a bigger picture opportunity as we go through some of this stuff. So we are running behind, so I'm going to try to speed this up and get caught back up in between now and when TrustWave takes the stage, right? So I've got the next two sessions myself. I'm going to go through our complete product suite overview. How many of you guys, again, some of you have been on this, we have, just so you know, we have these recorded, again, in our partner portal. Even though this is the same deck, the same amount of content, I always do a different focus. So if you watch one product suite overview in the partner portal, you go watch another one, there's going to be a different spin to it, more than likely. Okay, I'll focus on different products, different things, different new enhancements. but we always want to go over a product overview because at the end of the day, what we want to create for you all is you have a solution for nearly every merchant out there. And we continue to advance that. We continue to offer that. Okay? Other companies offer this POS or this terminal. We sit there and go, there shouldn't be an opportunity you can't walk in and win. You know, somebody asked earlier if STK is a client. Yes, they are. They've been a client of ours for years. They've been my personal client for about 6 years. Where I got involved, where they're ready to punt, they're ready to go. Because the how they're being taken care of back then had gotten so bad. I jumped involved, turned it around. They reached out saying, Keith, we need an EMV solution. All right, let's do this. Started researching ones, and as we tried to do one that failed, our EPX one came online, and Chicago here was the first store I did because it's a 2.5-hour drive for me. Came up here and installed this location, and they ended up flying me around to every single location and doing the work and in doing the, they paid for my airfare and hotel. I did the labor for free and hooked up every single location with our EMV solution.
How many locations?
They have, 12, I think now? So I've been to every one. They opened up Bellevue last week in Washington. I haven't been to that venue yet. Scottsdale, they have that one as well. We just started that one going. So there's a few that I haven't been to as of now. But it was me bringing value, and that's part of it, right? They said, hey, I need EMV for micros. All right, let's figure this thing out. It isn't, I need terminals, right? So we have solutions for nearly every merchant opportunity out there. As we go through some of these, you're going to see the little keys. I try to make it really easy to identify which ones can run edge, which ones have same-day funding, which ones have maximum bonus potential, and ones that have placement programs available, right? And again, I apologize for the small screen. You guys are going to get every single slide, just so you know. I'm going to email it to you guys at all, make notes, and all that stuff, but you're going to get everything that you're seeing. But we got it up there, we got it up here. We have, like I said, a solution for every merchant. We have our Pay Anywhere, we have our Sleeta, we have our homegrown products, the NAB-owned products. But what we also have is this whole host of resource partners. And you're actually going to hear from quite a few of those today in TrustWave, Retail Cloud, ChargeZoom, which just came on board. Like I said, Cash Buoy is our merchant cash advance resource partner. So it's one thing to go, here we are as a company, and here's what we can give you directly. It's another thing to go, okay, there's a lot that these products don't fit the right need for. Who do we need to be bringing on board and then extending those products to you guys to help you go out and win that business? So that's what we've done. There's other content around. So again, to try to speed up on time, I'm going to skip through this quick. We do offer next-day funding, obviously, and then same-day funding on certain products and programs. Look through your deck as you get this, and you can go through some of the details. But one of the things that I really encourage and use the terminology on is understand what you're trying to accomplish. And most of the times we're trying to accomplish next-day deposits. Okay? Understand that there's a difference in how you explain somebody with next-day funding versus next-day deposits. SDK, right, is on next-day funding. But they don't batch till 3 a.m., which means they're not getting next-day deposits. They've missed the cutoff time. Does that make sense? Yes. So next-day funding, just like same-day funding, are programs. I'm trying to accomplish next-day deposits. And there are times and places to use same-day funding to accomplish next-day deposits and times where it doesn't work, right? Just don't think, same-day funding is a great tool to sit there and go, we offer same-day funding. You do? And it gets attention, right? You can have conversations because it's a different talking point. But as you get to know them and you're looking at it and going, hey, yeah, but we're open for dinner and everything else, I don't know what just happened. All right, we're getting back. Anyways, I'll keep talking. So when you time out.
Guys, while we're waiting for Keith, somebody's missing their phone. There's a red phone back there. I was anxious. It's on the table. We put it on the side.
The last mile, you know what I mean?
I think Keith stopped, so we can make that announcement.
All right, we're back. Make sure that everybody's still seeing and yeah, we're back. All right. All right, cool. Let's keep going. All right, funding. Hiccups. right? We have them, even with merchants, presentations, and everything else. So again, these details, the banks, the time slots. Again, for save some time, I'm not going to go through all of that because I want you guys to pick up and understand the differences, and you guys can look at the details there. Can you click on the slide part of the screen there, Blair? Because I clicked on. There you go. Thank you. So when to offer same-day funding? Same thing. You want to understand when it actually becomes a benefit to the merchant. The same-day funding has a cutoff. I think it's like 10 o'clock in the morning. But if they're open lunch and dinner, you don't want to split their batches for the day and all of a sudden they get the business from breakfast at dinner, right? But so hypothetically, what we would do now, I can't for SDK because they aren't on BMO. Like you have to be on BMO for same-day funding. Now you can do same-day funding with the Micros EPX, but because of the volume, because of the underwriting requirements, because they're a publicly traded company, I'd have them on a different bank. Okay? So they can't qualify for same day. But if let's say this was a single operator, I could put them on BMO. I could actually put them on same-day funding at no charge. Okay? Now that 3 a.m. batch that they do hits that 10:30 cutoff, and boom, now they're seeing money from Monday's business in their bank account Tuesday afternoon. Now I've actually accomplished next day deposits from the day of business. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm using the same-day funding program to give them next day deposits. So please, this is a huge selling point. It's one of the little points on the cubes that we put on your chair. Like same day funding is a great talking point, but you have to understand how it works. Otherwise, you're going to end up getting a situation where a merchant goes, "I thought I was going to get the money the same day." Well, no, actually, well, okay, you want to use it to accomplish next day deposits depending on the circumstances. All right, real quick, terminals. The new 3500, we actually have a marketing flyer now in our partner portal that you guys have access to, fully editable. You can drop your information in there. This and the pin pad are our go-to equipment for when it comes to terminals. With the equipment shortage and everything else, obviously we've extended the VX offering. I will sit there and as a note that if you have a company that's using a VX 520, let's say, and especially if they have a gift card app like Value Tech in it, make sure if you have to swap it, emphasize that in the request. They have a Value Tech gift card app. I need another VX 520. You get the wrong, personal experience here, right? You get the wrong person looking at that swap. They see VX, they send a 3500, now all of a sudden there's no gift card app. Got a problem. So make sure as we're still offering certain things within there because you can't have people check every single thing, so we want to over-communicate. That's my role as a sales partner. I want to make sure whatever question I'm asking, I'm giving details. Make sure that those things happen right the first time. We also have other terminal options available through third-party resources. You can buy Deja Vu, you can buy PAX S80s. We can build the file builds for those. We have sales partners that buy their own Deja Vus, run their own file builds in their back office, and then deal with the equipment themselves. And then they deal with Deja Vu support and everything. And again, having these in your back pocket sometimes is an advantage, especially when you're dealing with some equipment shortages that we faced over the last couple months. Pay Anywhere product suite. The Roadshow I did in June, I spent a lot of time on Pay Anywhere. And one of the things that I talk about in Pay Anywhere is where it's not the right fit. Now, it's easy and fun to sell Pay Anywhere, and we're pushing out a new update, 6.3.3 in the future. We're actually betaing it right now with a lot of success. It's going to fix some of the little bugs and everything that 6.3.2 came out with. We continually want to make this the best product that you have for a majority of terminal needed merchants, okay? But one of the things with Pay Anywhere is don't let the maximum bonuses, don't let some of the other pieces of it have you place it in the wrong situation. I did a post on our Facebook group. How many guys are in our MyNAB Partners Facebook group? Not that many. Okay. I'll talk about that later. But I did a post in there because people go, all right, Keith, are you actually selling Pay Anywhere? Yes, I do. And I posted a picture in there of 3 A920s that I put in one of my long-term jewelry store clients. Right? They had VX equipment. We needed to upgrade them. We wanted to enhance the customer experience. They wanted to sit there, oh, you're buying a necklace? Let's go ahead and take payment now and do it at the counter instead of having to do that. So I do certain things first. One, it runs in terminal mode. Easy. But the most important thing that I did was I checked their internet connectivity before I sold them Pay Anywhere. I checked their Wi-Fi signal. I jumped on their Wi-Fi with my phone, I went to speed test, and I did a speed test of their internet capabilities. I also asked who their provider was. CenturyLink in our town, up and down, constantly, even split seconds during the day. If If you have interrupted internet, you may not know it from your browser because you're going Google and you don't feel it. Trust me, a terminal with split-second internet interruptions while you're trying to run transactions creates issues. Okay? So this is the due diligence I do before I sell Pay Anywhere. A couple other things is where it's not the right fit, food and beverage, right? Every single STK has a Pay Anywhere, 2 of them actually, A920s as a backup. It's their digital crash kit. Their system goes down, they lose power and internet, they can hotspot those things and get people out the door and take payment. That's it. I would never, ever, ever sell Pay Anywhere into a hospitality situation other than something like that. You can't do tip reports. Okay, you can't have different server reports on there. You can't split items to printers. I can't send the drinks to the bar and the food to the kitchen. It's not made for that. Okay? We have a ton of other products that are. So we can spend our time and money developing to try to compete in a space that we wouldn't play well in anyways, or we can continue to try to develop it for this group where it does play really, really well. Again, we don't have gift cards in there. Currently, if a merchant needs a Z report, like I love replacing Pay Anywhere in a retail setting. You know, kind of the idea of dump that cash register and terminal in the trash, and we set up, you know, a Pay Anywhere unit in retail mode. Well, guess what? If they go, I need to have my Z report every single night to hand to my accountant. We currently don't have that. It's not showing cash tender and credit card tender and all the categories that a Z report does. Automatically know, okay, Pay Anywhere isn't the right fit. You sell it in there, they start going, where's my Z report? What do you mean? I need my Z report. You're going to be finding another option. Okay? So again, one of the things that you want to do to make the best customer experience is knowing the limitations, understanding what is the right fit and what isn't the right fit. Another big piece of Pay Anywhere, this is where I spent a majority of the time on the June one, so I'm not going to recap it, but I will say, understand the differences between device settings and app settings. When you understand that, you will have way less frustration, you'll be able to take better care of your merchants. And I'll use an example, okay? Number of receipts that print. That is a device setting. You know how many times I've heard, why isn't this working? They just swapped the brand new one and it's only printing 1 receipt again. Why isn't it printing 2? Because it's a device-specific setting, it has to go back in on that new device and change it to 2 instead of 1. Okay? Whereas an app setting, for example, in your receipts, I don't want to see who's sold by. You uncheck that box, I don't care if you have 10 devices, it's going to cover that across the board. So really understanding within there is going to help you set proper expectations and service your merchants best by understanding which one's which. I'm going to skip through some of this stuff. Again, we have a whole product suite. This is all recorded, but to sake for pickup time, and I want to spend a majority of the time in Solido anyways. But I will sit there and say this, that Pay Anywhere, and I forgot my unit up there, I always like to hold it up. Pay Anywhere, in my opinion, is the ultimate door opener when it comes to technology. Because even if I'm walking in the door and I'm saying, and I see a 3500 or even a Desk 3500, another Ingenico, or a VX520, which is coming to end of life, and I'm the one walking in the door with this, I can at least have the conversation, hey, wouldn't it be great to have this type of technology in your business now instead? Okay, if I'm opening the door with that and going, oh man, that's a little bit too high tech for me, can I just get one with buttons? Sure, I can step down. Okay, but there's nothing special if you're walking in with a VX520 and a VX520 account, right? The other thing too is, I look at it, it's your middle ground. I'm walking in the door with middle ground. If they go, oh man, that'd be great, we've actually been thinking, can I get, will it do this, 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 and this? Well, no, it won't, but I can go up. We do have options that will do those things. You want to see this, you want to have a loyalty program, you want to be able to text your customers, you want to track this, you want to have these type, absolutely I can take care of that need too. So it makes it, and think about it, if I'm going in with dumb terminals, really, really hard to jump all the way up to POS. I go in with Pay Anywhere, I can step down, I can step up. Okay, so Pay Anywhere is one of those pieces where that is the best door opener out in the market. I already touched on the EMV for micros. You see a micros customer out there, I don't care if there's Shift4, Freedom Pay, whoever it is running EMV, we can displace that. So I mentioned STK Scottsdale. That is the only location that has a joint partnership and it's not priority owned. I actually did not get that merchant to begin with. They went with Freedom Pay through a relationship they had in Scottsdale. The ownership there group did. Well, after about a good year of running that one and having the issues and paying more money than we would have with us, I just got that account. They do $1.2 million a month in volume. Wow. Okay? And, so and they installed it. They had an IT person there. I just boarded it, had 9 units shipped out there, comm boxes, they're up and running. So you have the ability to go out and win Micros business, even if they're with other EMV solutions for Micros. Because oftentimes they have gateway fees, they're more expensive, and even I've talked to people at Micros, right? We have the best EMV integrated solution for Micros, period. Now, one of the other things that you're going to hear more on PCI later, on how to use PCI to sell large opportunities, well, guess what our EMV for Micros does? Has anybody sold the EMV for Micros solution online? You can raise your hand. Nobody will see you, but you can if you want to. Anybody in here? All right, let me give you a quick tip. Those devices you see next to the equipment here, send the transaction directly to EPX. The Micros system never sees the credit card information. So that means it takes their entire point of sale system out of scope from PCI compliance. Can you imagine? Think about it. SDK, all their locations, hospitality, they're downtown New York, one has 22 workstations. Imagine the amount of money they saved in just PCI compliance management by putting our solution in. Those are the things you want to consider when you're looking at, hey, does Shift 4, and I don't know this because I haven't studied it that well, does your current solution keep your system out of PCI scope? How much are you spending for PCI compliance currently? On a big opportunity, as you'll learn with TrustWave, that makes a difference. I'm talking thousands of dollars a month. And that's not even just the payment processing. That's an associated cost because of the payment processing. It's a big deal. CDI Tech is our in-house company. We're one of the largest Micros distributors in the country. They are your source for Res 3700, which you see here, and now the new Symphony 2 system. Okay, Symphony 2 is a big-time competitor to Toast. You want to win Toast business? This is one of the best solutions to do it today. Most of the reasons why people are unhappy with Toast, besides support, besides price increases, is things that don't work well. Symphony 2 will do it all, okay? Either directly or obviously with Micros. Micros has built out integrations with, you name the partner, and they can plug in. Okay, so if they want something, there is something that plugs into Symphony 2. Right now, and I'll use a statistic. I talked to Carrie Nickerson, who runs the sales. We'll do Q&A afterwards. So just jot down your questions. Again, guys, if you're online, you have any questions, jot them in there. Blair's going to do it afterwards. So Symphony 2, 1/3 of all of their leads they get per month, our direct team for CDI Tech selling microsystems, are current Toast customers. Like, that should give you encouragement that there is an option out there once people have adopted Toast and they think it's this great, amazing thing. Give them enough time. Okay, remember that timeline example I showed you? Or I talked about it today? Look, I got a buddy who put Toast in their restaurant. All right, I'll get you in 3 years. I know what'll happen. You know, if you're still in business, I'm still going to be doing this, and you're my friend. We're not going anywhere. I will be patient. I will be there for when you hate them, and it will happen. Okay? They will do something, and you will end up paying a lot more money. They will support you, whatever it is. I'm your guy. Just let me know when. Right? We have those solutions. Solido is one of those solutions, right? And we're bringing this on more and more online. How many of you guys have heard of Solido before? Solido is NAB's homegrown, owned point-of-sale solution. We purchased them a couple years ago. We've been working on the development. I want to show you some high-level introduction to Solido, as well as their new Solo, which is their online ordering platform. All right, so Solido, one of the things, I'm just going to go ahead and play a video, and hopefully this might be a little bit weird, so everybody online can hear it too. I'm going to hold the speaker close to my microphone to make sure they get it. But there are promo videos that we can get you access to, and so I'm just going to go ahead and play some of those and let kind of Solido speak for itself. So one of the things about Solido that I absolutely love, right, is its DNA. This guy in New York came up with this idea. He's an engineer, technology engineer, and he loves hospitality. Like, he's so connected in New York City, it's ridiculous. When you go hang out with Shu, be ready to eat amazing food and go to crazy places, okay? And so he knows all of these operators in these amazing places, and he hears, like, what don't you like about your point of sale? So the DNA of Solido and its origination was, imagine having a room of 8 to 10 big restaurant operators meeting like this, going, what do you want it to do? So Solido is a point of sale system that wasn't built by an engineer that was trying to solve the issues they think exist for the restaurant business and the hospitality business. It was built on the feedback and built off of the DNA of restaurant operators. Like, that in and of itself is ridiculously exciting, okay? It does full iPad utilization, it has an amazingly clean design, it does KDS, multi-workstation, full-blown enterprise, but it does have some very specific best fits. And this is where we are working on rebuilding Solido to be able to fit into, like, I have a customer in Warsaw, right? It's a taqueria. They do $50,000 a month, one workstation. They were thinking about adding a second. Right now, Solido's not the best fit for that. Okay, it's overkill. Okay, you want, like, an STK is a Solido option. Okay, multi-location, multi-units, high volume. This is not the cheapest system to support and build out everything on, and that's why they get such great reviews. And when I show you the video from Italy and their feedback, you understand, like, they can't scale Solido currently off of the small merchants. They are doing a lot of custom stuff, one-off for each merchant, to run Solido the way it needs to be done and have that user interface, right? That right experience. That's why it takes the right merchant for it. So let me go ahead and play another video. Italy was one of their first large merchants. How many of you guys are familiar with Italy? Okay, awesome. They run Solido. So let me show you their video. Again, hold this close to my microphone.
This was cool. It's a cool place.
Yeah.
We had breakfast there. And it was good. Just going through this was an experience.
Yep.
Italy is a place where you can eat, shop, and learn about all things Italian. We run multiple restaurants, a butcher shop, a bakery, coffee bar, quick service sandwich, all under one roof. And we operate it all with one team. Everywhere where you can shop, you can also eat.
Some days in here, we have 10 activations. There'll be 10 things happening between an oyster tasting or a wine tasting.
Because at Italy we have such a complex operation, particularly when it comes to restaurants, that's why we chose Solido and why we rely on Solido. We tested it out and we never got so many compliments on the POS, on the user interface. The thing about Solido which makes it unique is ease of use of the reporting capabilities, particularly for a multi-unit operator. We have to be able to report not just on the whole Italy, but on individual restaurants, on departments. Aside from the technological capabilities, the flexibility, was just our staff liked it.
Over 600 employees here. Each of them play an integral part of our success. From the time we opened in 2010 to the time we are today, we've all played a part into the growth of the company. There's a culture and a passion about Italian food that I think we bring out of our employees here, and our customers see that on a daily basis. The experience here is always forthcoming and it's always quick and easy. Without that type of technology, our employees will be one step behind of what New York City has to offer.
The idea is to make it Italian and make it great.
So again, you know, you look at in Italy, you've been there, you said, right? They have so much going on. You can go in there, yeah, it's retail, it's hospitality, it's quick service. You have all of these things, and Solido can service that, right? That's the opportunities that exist for Solido. Just like, how many of you guys have been into like a boutique hotel that has 2 or 3 restaurants in it also that have to integrate to Opera, like Micros Opera? Well, guess what? Solido can do that. Okay, there aren't very many point of sale systems out there that, aside from Micros, that can actually report into Opera for the hotel management and operating system. So that way you can eat in the restaurant and have it put on your room tab. Like, these are the types of things that Solido can do really, really, really well. And those are the opportunities we're currently looking for. You know, they're up against the Shift 4s, the Toast, the Alohas, right? Again, this isn't where I'm going to go in and put a Paradise or Retail Cloud or something of that nature. This is like, okay, they're using Aloha. I walk in and they've got 12 workstations. Slido opportunity, right? I walk in and I see Square running a little taco shop. Not a Slido opportunity, okay? Now, Square's on there because, again, Square's been trying to get into the bigger hospitality space, especially with bigger operators. Know the situation that Slido best fits. We have marketing materials for you. And most recently, we've added their Solo just went live. We're actually just putting it into certain merchants, and Solo is our Slido online ordering platform. I got another little video they just shared with me on this. It kind of talks about the online ordering. So that's their brand new online ordering features. And I'll tell you, they sent me a demo link, and I grabbed screenshots because I wanted to make sure, again, I'm not a Slido expert. I'm learning here just like you guys are. Okay, I'll talk about how to get Slido help here in a second. But I played with it, right? These are screenshots I took. And I mess around with a lot of online ordering, either ordering myself at home from, like, I've got a buddy that has a restaurant that uses Square. I've used their online ordering. I've used Toast online ordering. I've used Paradise online ordering. You know what I mean? And this is a ridiculously clean and easy to use experience for the customers. It's super easy to pick what you want, and just like they said, you can pick the time that you want to pick it up, or even if I want to put an order in and pick it up 3 days from now at dinner, right? I've got that set. I now know what I'm doing for dinner, got it done and ordered. You can pick the day, you can pick the time. The user interface, you have, if they upload pictures, it's full pictures, they know what they're getting, it's just not words. So again, part of this is what experience and how much work is the merchant willing to put in to create a great experience for the online orderers. If they're not willing to put pictures in, it's not going to be quite as cool as this, right? And so when I did it, I'll tell you, this is how quick and easy and responsive the Slido team is. I'm doing this demo, I'm like, where's the modifiers? You guys need to have, I need to be able to show people how easy it is to do modifiers. In your demo, there's no modifiers. All right, give me 10 minutes. Boom, there's modifiers. Okay, so if I were to order a burger, I can select the cook temperature. They made it to where you have to pick one, so you can have modifiers that are forced as a part of the online experience. You can't even add that burger to the cart now in the demo until I've picked a temperature. Okay, it will not light it up. It will, and it shows it in yellow lettering. You must pick 1 or 2, right? So if you have sides, you have to pick those before it goes into the cart. And then there's your optional modifiers. You want pickles, you want this. And then there's a notes section. Hey, I want my pickles on the side. Great, put it in there. And then it'll let you add it to the cart. So it makes a really clean experience. We have marketing assets for you guys now too. Those are brand new, okay, for the online ordering. And if you guys actually need help with Slido, you have an opportunity for Slido. We want you to go through our POS Pros team. It's your POSPros.com. How many of you guys are familiar with our POS Pros team? Okay, I'll give you a quick background. Just so you guys are very, very clear. There's POSPros.com, which is a whole other company. Then there's your POSPros.com. That team are NAB employees. They are part of our partner support team. Their job every single day is to help you all win point of sale business. Now, a couple caveats to that. Caveats. is make sure when you send them leads, when you go to yourpos.com, it's a lead form, okay? They want you to put your information in so they can reach you, and then the merchant opportunity. Please pre-qualify the leads, okay? That team is getting swamped with opportunities, and they're helping close anywhere from 60 to 80 deals a month for our sales partners. And what we don't want is, hey, I was an SDK and they're using micros. That's not a qualified lead, okay? I walked into Joe's Chicken Shack. I talked to Joe. He's with Square, and he's looking for options, and I think we can help him. That's a lead, okay? Like Joe is expecting us to reach out and set up a consultation call, figure out what that Joe wants, and help him find a solution that'll meet his needs, right? That's a qualified lead. Once you get in touch with them, it's super easy, right? You put the lead in. They will always reach out to you first. They will not contact your merchant or your opportunity without talking to you. They'll be like, hey, Scott, how much do you want to be involved? Do you want to be on the demos? Or do you just want us to handle it and kind of give you feedback emails? That's up to you. How hands-on you want to be with your merchant through the experience. Now, I will say this. Until you get enough of them under your belt, get involved in the demos. It's a great opportunity, one, to continue to build the relationship with your merchant, being their advocate, okay? But number two, you want to talk about learning systems without setting aside the time to learn systems on your own. Sitting through enough demos, you start learning talking points, features, what it can, what it can't do, and it will help you pre-qualify opportunities. You're going to walk in the door and be like, okay, just like I said with Slido, this is a Slido option, this is a Micros option, Paradise will work, Hot Sauce will work. You know what I mean? Like, you can start actually getting an idea of what will suit merchants best. And then they will help do all the work on the point of sale. You still have to do the merchant account. Okay, you got to board that, do all that stuff, but they will actually help correlate the paperwork for the point of sale system, the shipping, the scheduling, all of that stuff, right? They don't fly and do the installs. They'll work whatever company they went with to make sure that that happens and gets installed properly. They currently help directly with all of these systems, okay? So we have what we call our tier one, the ones that they will actually do demos on or help correlate it at a higher level. Then they've got our tier two, our resources, referral marketplace. And this is, again, you know, I remember that when we built POS Pros off of what was originally started, I remember, and I'll say it was Harbor Touch. Harbor Touch sent out an email. I remember seeing it back in like December of 2019. Become a POS expert. How many of you guys in the room consider yourselves a POS expert? I sell a lot of POS, and my hand's not raised. Okay? Becoming a POS expert does not happen overnight. It does not happen by an email. Okay? I remember reading that and laughing and going, that's funny, we're building the exact opposite. Right? You don't have to be a POS expert. We have a team of experts that you have access to help you close deals. You go find the opportunities, line them up, we knock them down. Like, that's what we built. That's what they do. So again, they have the direct ones, but we also, again, how can I possibly become an expert on 30 different options? There's no way. But they're going to help go, hold on a second, you might be thinking this, but I actually think this will be the best fit. Right? So the team is awesome. Robert Kramer, who you're going to hear from later on with Retail Cloud, he ran that team up until recently. Matt Proctor's now running that team. Robert went over to Retail Cloud. He didn't take a little hiatus and had an opportunity to Retail Cloud, so he's staying in our lives, which is amazing. Quickly, as I go through the rest of the product overview, essentially, if a product can't get to EPX directly and it's software related, chances are there's a gateway that'll help you get there. Okay? I fielded a message on Facebook from a sales partner. Hey, do you know of any floral software that we have that we can do? And I said, we don't have any direct relationship. Like, when you look at this, there's no floral companies on here. But I did my own research for my customer that's a greenhouse and landscaper, okay, in Warsaw. And I think it's Florinext. It's been a little while. It's either Teleflorist or Florinext. Their option is USA ePay. And guess what? USA ePay can get to EPX. I shot them back that information. Thank you so much. Right? So the gateways can oftentimes allow us to get accounts without even the merchant having to change the user. So I'll use another example, and I'm actually going to tie into this with my customer experience one next. I keep mentioning SDK, right? They're a big keystone client of ours. Well, guess what? We didn't have their online ordering up until recently. They used Stripe through their platform. Well, they wanted to go with a better platform, Paytronix. Paytronix can use Authorize.net. Guess who now has their $1 million in volume per month in online ordering between all of their all of their locations? We do. Okay? Not because Paytronix is our product, not because Paytronix even has a direct integration to EPX, but because Paytronix can access through authorized.net. Hey, Keith, Dan calls me up. Keith, we're switching to Paytronix. Can you guys process through them? We don't want to go with Stripe anymore. Let me do it. Hey, look, get on their website. Yeah, they do authorized.net. I can take care of you. Great, send me what I need. That was it. That was that easy, and I'll talk about in customer experience why that happened. So again, USA ePay and authorized.net are our two primaries. Recently, USA ePay was acquired by NMI. They're an awesome partner as well. They have a very specific skill set. We'll talk more about them in the B2B space on things. We have an entire gateway matrix of who can do level 2, 3, recurring billing, virtual terminals. Again, this will be in slides that every single person will get, so you don't have to worry about trying to write all this down or remember it. E-commerce. How many of you guys have been selling e-commerce at all, especially over the last year? You're missing the boat, okay? Last February, we started conversations with BigCommerce, and we are about ready to launch our full direct integration to BigCommerce. BigCommerce, EPX. No authorized.net, no USA ePay sitting in between, okay? BigCommerce is the fastest and best competitor to Shopify. Okay? Now, I want to explain BigCommerce is a website service. They do not build websites, they have templates, and merchants can then hire some of their resources to help build that site if they can't self-service it themselves. But just like Shopify, somebody can throw up, I sell t-shirts for fun, right? EnjoyLifeTees.com is my website where I've got tequila shirts and bourbon shirts. I throw up this boat day t-shirt. I built it on BigCommerce. I did it over the course of a weekend. I got the app on my phone. Somebody buys a t-shirt, I'm getting a notice. I'll ship it when I get home, right? So, I mean, it's a really easy to use platform, and it's something you can offer every single one of your merchants today. Again, for the sake of time, I'll go through all that. If you guys need product demo units, we have put together a more formal program. Again, all of this is in the deck you're going to get. Just know that the way that you want to do this is you want to set up under your partner ID number. You want to set up a 3-in-1 account, okay? A live Pay Anywhere account on flat rate pricing. It's up to you whether you want to have Edge enabled or not to be able to show Edge on Pay Anywhere. But by putting it on flat rate pricing, you don't get PCI, you don't get reg fees, you don't get all the other stuff, right? So again, this is a live account. And you got to look at it as, this is an expense. I think I pay like $3 or $4 a month or whatever for mine, right? But it allows me to actually demo my products. Get a live account on a 3-in-1. Then you have the ability to purchase the hardware. And we have sales partners that literally have purchased every single unit. They walk in with a case to businesses and say, which one do you want? Wow. Okay? So by having that, by having the live account not associated to any hardware, there is no SaaS. You're not paying the $9.95 a month or the $79.95. You're not paying it. You're just buying the hardware you want to show. Personally, you don't need to buy the smart POS. That's almost $1,000. Like if I was doing this, which I have, SmartFlex and the Smart Terminal. Those are your two big devices, right? Because if somebody really wants an E700, once they're available again, you can show them how it works on an E600. Go, you want a bigger interface? Same thing, just bigger interface. I also put in this deck links. We have people that buy these cases. So again, they cut out the foam. It's super professional. It's awesome. They walk in the door. They slap that bad boy down, and they go, what do you want to see? What can help your customer experience be best? So we have all that available. Here's the processes in here, who you send an email to, how you want to correlate the MID. Once you're buying that equipment, our partner support team can help you with that. So a couple quick takeaways on Slido and other big opportunities. For those of you who have not ever done one of these before, either virtually or in person, I want you to walk away with 1 to 3 nuggets. If you walk away with 1 to 3 courses today, then it's a valuable day, right? Things that can go out and change your portfolio. So I spoon feed them to you just in case. Every single session will have 3 things that if you didn't pick up on your own, you can at least grab these. So the 3 things that I recommend on Slido and other big opportunities. Make sure you know that big hospitality opportunities take the right system. Okay? You're not going to walk into a big opportunity and put Pay Anywhere in there. You're not. Okay? It might be hot if it's a nightclub bar type thing. It might be a Micros. It might be a Slido. It might be different stuff, but and also understand that it is a longer sales cycle. You're not going to do a 1 or 2 close meeting with an SDK. It isn't going to happen. Okay? So understanding that, online ordering for the right merchant. So again, Slido And I mention this because it can be done, and this is what we're going to build out, is let's say SDK didn't have an online ordering option. Let's say they wanted something better, something that might set the stage for the future. I can actually sell a Solido into a merchant like this with 2 workstations for Solido and a KDS to only do online ordering and provide online ordering without disrupting the rest of their point of sale system. They don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars replacing their entire system just to add online ordering and an opportunity like this. So we'll get a little bit more detail around that of when can you actually get a foot in the door with a big opportunity by offering online order in Solido. How does that work from a hardware perspective, from an account, monthly cost, and those types of things. So that's one of the options. And then understand the limits of certain products and utilize the resource partners we have. Again, I cannot emphasize enough. This, if we just stop today, I could spend an entire day talking about all the different products that you guys have access to. Vend, Growzilla, Hot Sauce. I mean, each of those are sessions in and of themselves that all exist in our partner portal, right? It is a lot. It can become overwhelming. Take a step back. Know that you don't have to be those experts, but instead, use those companies, right? We leverage our bigger relationship with those resource partners to provide you great experiences. We have a POS Pros team that's going to help you with that. On that note, I'm just going to take, I know that, again, trying to pick up the pace so that way I can hit for TrustWave. So I know you had a question. Anybody online, we will answer your questions virtually later. I gotta pick back up from our glitch at the beginning. So you had a question.
Although I hate to ask this, I've come across many places with toast.
Yep.
And it seems like they love it.
Yep.
So I want ammunition. What are the pitfalls of toast versus Symphony, how we can tell them what are the main pain points of toast and what does...
All right, I'm going to repeat that so if people didn't hear you virtually. Okay. So the question was asked, what are the main pain points of toast? You walk into a toast merchant and they're like, I love toast. How do you disrupt that? Okay, I'm going to be really, really, really honest and frank here. Okay, toast is a great system. It really is. Okay, so this goes into, again, the timeline mentality. My buddy, he was like, man, Keith, I do local on everything. He buys his steaks local. He's got farmers and everything else. He goes, I'm breaking my own rules. I know I should be going with you. And we were looking at hot sauce as a comparative option because it had qualities. He wanted to be able to split tickets a certain way and do certain things, right? It was either me and hot sauce or it was toast. And as good as I am at this, like, he just, the history of toast, he knew some other operators that were using toast. He's like, I know I'm probably making a mistake here, but man, I got to give toast a try. No problem, Jason. You got it. I am here to support you any way, shape, or form. And then I actually went above and beyond, right? I'm setting the stage. So this goes into don't waste your time selling the unsellable. Okay? If I walk in the door and they're with toast and they're happy, how long have you been with toast? That's the number one thing, right? I've been with toast 6 months. Great, your contract is coming up in another 2.5 months. I'm going to know that date and I will be talking to you the year before. Because more than likely, as they get closer to that date, their rates have gone up. They're going to get a new bump in their SaaS. If they had to replace any equipment during that time period, they paid an arm and a leg. You see what I'm saying? I want to build the stage to get that business later. Because I know there's no way, unless they're pissed at Toast for whatever reason because they've actually had horrible support, which we've seen it, right? Like I said, 1/3 of CDI's leads right now are Toast customers. It will happen. So if I walk in the door and they're happy, I want them to know who I am for when they're not. I'm not going to waste my time trying to sell the unsellable. You're not going to sell a happy Toast customer. You're not. You will sell them when they are not happy. Be that person. Sorry, I know that's probably not exactly what you wanted to hear.
Because a lot of the people that I end up speaking to are not the people that always know the pitfalls of it.
Correct.
Like I could be asking a waitress and they're thrilled about it, but does the back office, do we know what the pitfalls?
So don't talk to waitresses. And so another big trick on Toast, right? Guess what Toast does? How many of you guys know what Toast does to help get leads? That waitress you're talking about? If I own a restaurant and Sally is the waitress at a Toast account, and they gave her my name because Sally knows me, they sell me Toast, Sally gets $500. Toast pays servers and bartenders for sold leads because they float, right? They know a server here will end up going over here, and if they're not using Toast and they see a bad experience with Upserve, well, hey, we use Toast over here. It's great. Really? Here's who you should call. Bam, $500. Okay? Don't, like, at the end of the day, they're using those people as frontline people for opportunities, right? That becomes their network. Okay? But those aren't the ones you need to talk to. You can ask them, sure, are you happy with the system? Yeah, it's great. We know it has a great UI. But guess what? The server's not the one jumping on tech support if there's an issue and not getting hold of somebody. The server's not the one watching the processing bills start to increase and creep up. So why am I going to waste my time? Again, I invest my time or spend my time. I'm not going to, there's no investment aside gathering a little bit of information and building the bigger picture relationship. There's no investment really with wasting my time with a server going through all the details.
No, but I wanted to go to the next step and ask the owner if I know some of the pitfalls, I can specifically ask.
So then go straight to them. I'm just telling you what I do, right?
Have you seen prices increase? Have you had issues with tech support? That's what I want to be able to
And you go straight to the owners.
because I know.
Yep. You go straight to the owners and say, hey,
Have the knowledge.
I know your server said you're happy with Toast.
Right.
Eventually you're not going to be. I want you to have my info. And they may sit there and go, funny you should mention that. I'm not happy with them at all. Great, let's talk.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Like, just get right to it. Don't beat around the bush. Be that person that's in the next lineup, right? In the batter's box when you run into a happy Toast customer. All right, let me grab a drink of water. Can you click back on the slide piece there for me, Blair? All right, so my goal right now, it is 11:30. I need to get caught up. Sorry, I'm doing the math without looking at the agenda. I'm going to go through this a little bit quicker. So as you guys continue to get to know me, as you all have either absorbed in the past content that we've created, I have certain passions in life, right? And certain things that I try to help you guys open up the doors with. I'm going to share with you a customized version of Create an Incredible Customer Experience or Die. Now, I'll give you some credence because if you haven't seen this, I have mentioned this in other past sessions. I am a big believer, and this is where I'm going to tie into Facebook. I asked earlier, how many of you guys are on our My NAB Partners Facebook group page?
Can you repeat what?
My NAB Partners. It's a private Facebook group page. When you go put your name in, you got to put your partner ID in. If it's not there, I don't let people in, right? My NAB Partners. So let me ask, how many of you guys are on social media? How many of you guys are on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn? Okay, so before I get into this, you need to be. Okay, I had this conversation with a sales partner the other day. You need to be on social media. It'd be the same thing of how many of you guys have email? Everybody should raise their hands. Everybody has email addresses, right? Social media today, even through the direct messenger aspect of things, is the same thing as not having email. Okay? You need to be on it even if you don't post family stuff. You don't want to be on it. You want people seeing into your lives. Great. Don't be on it for that reason. There are 3 reasons you need to be on social media, and a lot of it ties into this. Number 1, the access to information is unreal. Stop thinking of social media and think of it as internet. It is the internet in a bigger picture. Okay? The Facebook groups and the things that you can have access to find out questions, things that people have been through, feedback, etc., reviews is amazing. The second reason is it gives you the biggest and fastest way to get to know your merchant at a whole nother level. Again, if you don't have Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, create them, follow every single one of your customers. Okay? You will see when they do specials. You will see when they have events. You will be able to engage with them. Hey, had a great experience in there for dinner on Friday night. Thank you. Okay, because then here's the third reason. If you don't, others will. Okay? If you're not doing that, the next person that's trying to win that merchant's business will be engaging with them online. And the next thing you know, a smart sales partner in this industry today is using social media to build relationships to soften up an opportunity. I do it. Somebody's on my target list. I follow them. I watch their stuff. If I go there, I give them a review. I want them to know who Keith Sampson is before I even walk in the door. Okay? Another thing which we'll talk about in here is if you aren't on there, you can't promote them. You can't give them attention. You can't share a story that they can then reshare, and I'll talk about that here in a second. Anyways, enough about that. Create an incredible customer experience or die is all about producing value-added content. This was something that I had built before COVID, And I had actually scheduled, I was going to do this for free and invite Warsaw area businesses, I had a venue and everything else, to come and gain value on how to help build a better customer experience for you. Okay? So this was me doing a soft approach of giving to a room full of business owners, thinking that at that point, they might see me more as a business expert. I don't want to be the payments guy. I want them to see me as a valuable business consultant. And if it ends up helping me get their point of sale or merchant processing business at the end, great. Somebody comes that's currently with Square and they understand what I'm going to show you through here, and I get that opportunity, fantastic. If not, it fed my passion of helping people. Okay? So I had that scheduled for April. COVID changed that. I'm part of a buying group for men's clothing stores. And we did a virtual show. Okay, we were always doing them in Minneapolis twice a year. So in August, we're virtual. And I'm sitting there going, there's 120 sessions that these 400 plus business owners are going to attend. You really think somebody wants to jump on for 45 minutes and learn about point of sale and payments? No. No value there. They're looking at shirts, belts, shoes, and everything else enough that their eyes bleed. Okay? So I'm going, you know what? I didn't get to do this locally. I'll freaking do it online. And so what happened was, I packed this session, and I had, besides the founder, it was a Sunday afternoon, I had 3 people on it. 3. And I had pre-recorded and was playing it so I could do any kind of Q&A during it and stuff. And as I'm watching it, the founder is texting me going, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Every store needs to be watching this right now. And I believe fully in the power of 1, okay? 1 is greater than 0. Mark Antle was my 1. Between Mark and Randy, over the next 48 hours, it became the most viewed session of their entire show. And within 3 to 4 days, my phone started ringing. Because number 1, I went at it not from a payments and point of sale perspective. It was all value, okay? Number 2, it spread like wildfire because people got value from it. Literally, they're posting it in their Facebook groups. You gotta watch this. It's not what I thought it was. So I want to take you through that, and I have it customized to you all a little bit. I was able to give a broken down version for the ETA, Small Business Summit several weeks ago. And so what I want to talk about is this idea, right? But first, I want to ask a few questions. Okay, everybody, I see you have notes and everything else. When I tell you this, I want you to write down the first company that comes to mind. Okay, at home, do this exercise too. Okay, first thing. A company that gave you a memorable and great experience. Who pops in your head? Company, organization, whatever. Write down the name of that company. If you have one, maybe somebody hasn't made an impact that way. It could be a restaurant. Okay? Number 2, write down a few bullet points of why. Just take 20 or 30 seconds of that. Like, why? What was it? Why did that company pop into your head? Or that person, that business, whatever it is. And the third question that I ask, and you don't have to write this one down. Even as independent operators, as entrepreneurs, do you think anybody would write down the name of your company or yourself if I asked them that question? Okay? I really want you to think about that. That's what this is about. This is about creating an incredible customer experience so that way you become somebody that somebody thinks of when they get asked that question. If you can do that, that will set apart your business. Okay? And you might be thinking, Keith, that's not fair. Like, I only do this. I fully believe that. Like, I built this originally for retail. Okay? But the more I dove into this passion and this topic of mine, it's applicable for anybody. I don't care if it's a wholesaler that's selling widgets, right? I don't care if it's a restaurant. I don't care if it's individual contract workers going out there trying to build your brand, your business, or a sales office. We got 20 people working for you. I don't care. Everybody has the opportunity to build a business that makes a positive customer impact. Okay? You think that I'm wrong, right? You think that doesn't matter? I'll show you how and why. Sorry, I got to move this through because I do have a couple notes in here I want to make sure I hit on. You see, as you get to know me, currently a majority of my time is spent doing this. All right, but I apply this to what I do for you guys. That's why I spent the 25 minutes on the front end making sure the people online are getting the best experience they could possibly have. It's why we choose to do these at an STK instead of a conference room at a hotel. Why? is more memorable. This is way cooler and better food than in a hotel room, right? Like, these little details reinforce an experience. That is one of my passions. Now, I want to tell you how I got to that point, because this is me being you, and these are things that I innately was doing. But what dawned on me and what really hit, and the things that is going to help you guys, I was at my first market for it's Northwest Buyers Market, right? It's a men's clothing store that I'm a preferred vendor for. Been in it for 5 years. So roughly 5 years ago, I'm at my first show. I had built this awesome display, full color. Like these other people, I show up there and it's like shirts hanging and like a word. There's one other payment processor who's in there at that point, and it's like a tablecloth with a terminal and a bowl of candy. I got like point of sale. I got literature. I got all kinds of. I got giveaways. I'm having a blast, right? And this guy, I'm not gonna use his name. And it's to me, like a lot of these people are dressed to the nines, right? I mean, you're talking fashion. This dude walks up, shirt untucked, pants slouched, blah, 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 blah. Right? He's like, what do you do? And I'm explaining this, and he goes, great. He goes, tell you what, I live in I have a store in a college town. How do I keep people from walking? How do I keep these students and kids from walking into my store, looking at stuff, doing this, and walking out and buying it online? Right? Fair question. Okay? But immediately, my thought went to, as he turned around and walked away from me, what are you doing to keep the phone in their pocket? His wasn't an issue of competing against Amazon. His was an issue of providing a horrible customer experience. Right? And lack of a customer experience, there is none. It is incredibly convenient to pull this out, order it, and have it at my doorstep in 2 days. And if my only other option is that guy's experience, or jumping in a car and driving to a department store that's void of customer experience, and then driving back home, which one am I going to do? Right? That makes sense, right? So this is why I created, and that was really where the path started going down on creating this incredible customer experience at Die. How do I take this small business and help them understand the importance of creating an incredible customer experience so you can compete against the Amazons of the world? If I can successfully do that, now I'm providing something of immense value beyond, hey, I can save you money on credit card processing. Right? And here's the reality. We've seen these names. We've all seen the stores in the business that we're in, right? Stores close like crazy. 2019, this just isn't a COVID thing. 2019, I want to make sure I hit these numbers. Over 9,300 retail stores closed their doors. 2020 was roughly 12,000. And yes, COVID advanced that. But most of them were already heading down that path. Pier 1, JCPenney's, like all of these things, right? Why? They don't have any kind of a customer experience. Okay? 2021 is on pace to do 10,000 more stores. And yes, some of these are small operators too. But a lot of them are these big box stores because they can't compete with the Switch. So how do we do that? Like I said, some people will claim that I can't compete with Amazon. That's right. You can't. Not if you're not offering any other reason for me to have it at my doorstep for the same price and not have to get in my car and waste the time and money. Right? So how do we do that? I believe small to medium-sized businesses can be that difference maker. Small to medium-sized businesses can do the things big stores can't, because it's like moving a speedboat versus a cruise ship. Okay? They can do those things, and you guys can be the ones that can help them with that. You know, this is beyond shopping for the cheapest price. I believe in the experience economy that we live in today, and I take that reference from Ryan Estes. Okay, he was our keynote speaker back in 2019. I've stayed in touch with him. I follow his content, right? And I kind of, again, one of those things that you're already knowing, he put in those terminology. I've been using it ever since. We live in an experience economy. How many of you guys disagree with me on that? Great, because I was really going to challenge you if you raised your hand, okay? You know, but people that don't believe that, even sometimes retail merchants, because I've had plenty of these conversations, right? Okay, then where do you go out to eat? Do you always cook at home or eat at McDonald's because they're the cheapest and easiest? Well, no. We go to places like STK. We go to another. Why? Because we want, even we don't consciously think about it, we want to create memories. We want to have experiences. We want to have things to talk about. That is our human nature majority of the time. Some personalities don't, but a majority of the time, that's what we want, right? So what if going in and buying a shirt becomes as memorable as sitting down having the most amazing thing I've ever eaten, right? What does that do for the business? And first it starts with a challenge. And I'm going to challenge each of you all. I ask this quite often to customers of mine and friends and everything else. What do you believe the core of your business is? And I'll use two options. Okay, Oak and Alley in Warsaw, Dave Gustafson, he's the owner, good friend of mine. Burgers. They're amazing. Kraft burgers, they blow it out of the water. They have some of the best burgers you can possibly get. He answered burgers. Rise and Roll Donuts, also Northern Indiana. Caleb knows who they are. They are the best. Malloy loves them. When I bring them up to Troy, Michigan. And they are these Amish donuts. They are ridiculous. I asked them that, what's the core of your business? Donuts. What I challenge businesses to do is whatever you think the core of your business is, change it to the customer experience. And whatever it is you're selling and providing is simply the vertical to deliver on that customer experience. Could you imagine the impact that Oak and Alley can have to their top line if instead of focusing on burgers as being the core of their business, it was their customer experience and they stacked an amazing burger on top of it? Same thing with the donuts. And that's what I asked Rise and Roll. Do you think you would see a 10, 20% increase in sales if instead of focusing on just you have a great donut, I want to provide an incredible experience? Oh, and we have the best donuts in the world as well? Okay? Once you establish that the core of your business is your customer experience, everything goes out the window, right? Everything becomes simply a vertical. And this is where businesses that did really well during COVID, they are already kind of doing this and not realizing it, okay? Most people will ask, what's the core of your business? It's our store, it's our products. Wrong. If you make the customer experience the core of your business, the store becomes a vertical to deliver on that. Selling online becomes a vertical to deliver on my customer experience. Heck, putting stuff on Amazon and eBay, which is like the big known bad names in small business, simply becomes a vertical to deliver on the customer experience because I want to go where my customers are. And if my customers are on Amazon, I'm selling my stuff on Amazon. Right? A second location becomes an extension of my customer service. It fundamentally transforms the why. And I have a whole other thing we can talk about another time on really understanding why you do what you do. But if the customer experience is the core of your guys' individual businesses, and it's not payment processing, it's not selling cheap rates, it's not edge, it's not point of sale, but it's the customer experience, all of those things will stack on top, and I guarantee you, you will have greater results. Because you will start paying attention to the details of how you're delivering on that customer experience. And you will start setting yourself apart from every other competitor you have in your marketplace. Flat out. I know that to be true because I've been living it specifically for the last 18 months. And when you look at the other stuff I've done, and I've talked about my literature with the satin finish, the custom thank you cards, all of those are details that are a derivative of creating an incredible and memorable customer experience that set myself apart in my marketplace. Sorry, I need to drink water. So, and I want to share a story too, and I think Caleb, this might have been before your time at Wildman. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But were you there when they had us read Inside the Magic Kingdom? Okay, so this is before Caleb's time. Literally, again, I told you about that moment 5 years ago where I had that dude walk up to my booth and it dawned on me, what are you doing to keep the phones in the pocket? Ultimately, this entire thought process started, I think it was back in 2000, it would have been 2003 or 4. All right, I'm at Wildman, their sales manager, right? Selling uniforms, mats, linen, okay, like walk-off mats and napkins and stuff, right? How many guys are familiar with the industrial laundry business? Besides Caleb. Okay, it's just like this. It's cutthroat, it's competitive, and there are big fish out there that do things wrong that you hate and you love taking business from. Okay? We demolished the Cintas's, the Aramarks, and everything else. Well, they were always, management team and leadership were always trying to help us do better. And so they had us read this book, Inside the Magic Kingdom. It is in my top 5 business books. Please get on Amazon or your local bookstore and buy it. Okay? It's like $11. And it's the 7 keys to Disney's success. It's amazing. It talks about their culture, it talks about everything. And this started my path down this incredible customer experience perspective. But it wasn't just the book. after we did the book, imagine, and this is before phones, this is before Zoom and virtual meetings, okay? We're sitting around a conference table with one of those phones sitting in the middle of it, right? That have like the legs that look like they come off of it and a big speaker so everybody can hear. And we're on a conference call with the former CFO of Disney. And he's kind of reinforcing and going through some of this stuff. I don't remember much of that call, but I remember one question he asked. He asked, who do you think Disney's biggest competitor is? I'll let you guys take a thought on that, right? Who do you think Disney's biggest competitor is? Okay. Many of us were like, Universal Studios, right? You start thinking down that path. Other vacations, right? Other destination places. Now it's a different perspective. They've got streaming and they've got Disney Plus, but you're talking back then, you're thinking movies and like the parks, right? And this is the CFO of the parks. So you're thinking that type of thing. Oh, other expendable income. All of you, those are all great answers. But no, that's not our biggest competitor. Like, okay, who? UPS. Exactly right. And here was his thought process on that. You get on the phone with Disney, and you book your dream vacation. You pick your resort, you buy the park hopper passes, you plan everything out. You get off the phone like, man, that cast member, because remember, they're not employees, they're cast members there. That was awesome. And your next phone call is to UPS to have a package picked up at your door. Make that scheduled appointment. And you get off the phone with UPS and you go, I had a better experience with UPS than I did with Disney. Disney lost. I don't know. Right? I mean, like, think about that. Really, really think about that in your own jobs and what you do. It doesn't matter what other people are selling. Every single one of your merchants is having interactions with other companies that subconsciously or subconsciously they're holding you against. Could you imagine what your business would do if your focus was like that? If your perspective was, UPS is my competitor. The guy that drops off coffee is my competitor. The guy that changes out the mats and uniforms for the auto mechanic shop I service is my competitor. Not because they're going to take my business, but because if they are offering a better experience than I am losing. What does that look like from a referral perspective? What does that look like from a longevity perspective? Like, this is something I've been applying since day one in this industry. I don't have a huge portfolio because my entire time here, my first year was spent selling and then building, and biz dev, and doing what I'm doing here. So I don't have a huge portfolio. I've got roughly 120 merchants, right? But I can tell you over my more than 9 years doing this, I can count on two hands how many accounts I've lost. I can count on one hand of what I've lost to either a failure of service or a competitor. Most of the ones I lose go out of business or something like that happens. Because once I learned that back in 2003 and 4, that became a part of my professional DNA. Right? It just naturally became create an incredible experience. Offer more. Do better. So I have 3 things, 3 pillars I'm going to give you to help create an incredible customer experience. And now some of this is directly for you guys, but these are also things you can learn and take back to your merchants and help them. It will help you bring more value, and it will help, when you see point number 2, bring opportunity. The first one is a pillar of creating a culture of ridiculous love for your customers. The second is how to use technology to enhance that customer experience. And the third one is extending that customer experience beyond the walls of your business. So number 1, creating a culture, and I call it ridiculous love for your merchants. I mean, really think about what that means, right? Not like, oh, I love my customers, or I like my customers, or whatever. Or, let's just be honest. There's a lot of people in this industry that want to sell and move on. Sell and move on. There is no relationship. Sorry, guys. If you're not building a relationship with your merchants, then you can just go ahead and tune the rest of this session out. It does not apply. Because even taking this in and trying to provide it as value back to your merchants, you got no relationship. Why would they listen, right? This is a relationship-based experience. Does your customer feel like they are the number 1 client? Meaning, the first interaction I have with you, I don't care whether you buy from me or not, I love you. It sounds all like, woo, you know what I mean? But I'm talking about how do I treat you? If I own a business, if I own Oak and Alley Burgers, okay, and that person walks in and it's their first time walking in, how are they greeted? How are they this? If I own a retail store, a men's clothing store, to use the same example what I've been using for this, and somebody walks in, how are they treated before they even decide to buy or not? I actually made up, and this is something you guys can all do yourself too. How many guys drive by and see those wavy flags that are stuck in the ground that says like open or whatever else, right? I had one made for mine. It's branded with my business, Tried at 21. It has my website on it, smaller, but on the main part of it says, currently serving my #1 customer. When I go to a business, I don't care if I'm dropping off paper and talking to them for 10 minutes. That bad boy's stuck in front of their business. 2 reasons. 1, because I want them to feel as if they're my #1 customer. 2, what do you think that does from an advertising perspective with people driving by? Right? And as I'm building my personal brand in our community, and they're seeing that, and I can go to the next business and set up a terminal. Flag goes into that one. You know, I came up with that idea talking again. I always talk business with my clients. I was talking to a water services, like a water softener saw. And me and Rusty are going back and forth, and we always had these great things, and it should have been recorded because it was an awesome conversation. And I said, Rusty, could you imagine if your trucks pulled up to drop off salt, service a water softener, and they planted a flag like that? And that's where I came up with the idea. Out in front of there, currently serving my #1 customer. And instead of the customer rolling out the red carpet, you literally had a red carpet you put on their porch, so when you knocked on the door, they open it, and there's a red carpet, and there's a flag at the end of their driveway saying, currently serving my #1 customer. Okay, what that does is that reinforces, like, oh my gosh, this is completely different. I'm making a memory. When I go into point number 3, in a second, I take a picture. This is awesome. And I'm sharing it on social media. Look at what most people share on social media. Food, memories, fun things. Right? So if you make those moments happen, you're more likely to get attention. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So these are the things of like creating that culture. So yes, it's the culture of your employees or yourself. It's also the environment. Okay? When people walk in, like, now I understand you guys don't have businesses, but when you're working with businesses, what do they smell, see, hear? Okay, are you creating all those little details that reinforce a great experience? Most of you guys obviously weren't there. We did a roadshow in LA, Incognito, back in December of 2019. And they have this painted particle board out front, right? It's white, and it has simple black letters. And like you're walking in the door, and you walk right by it. And it says, mind blank all of a sudden, enjoy the moment, savor the moment. That's it. Super simple. And as I'm sitting there while we're setting up for the roadshow the day before and I'm doing the walkthrough, I'd watch people walk by, look at that, take a selfie and walk away. Okay? They're creating a memory and a moment before that person ever even walks in the door. They're creating something that can be taken a picture of. They're setting the stage, and it had a little incognito hashtag in the corner of it. Like, the environment matters. These little things. It was painted plywood. There's no money to that, right? But these are the things. Could you imagine if more of your customers created picture moments that reinforce the experience that they wanted to deliver to their customers, and making it easier for those customers to share attention? Point number 2, using technology. Guess what, guys? This is where it's at for us, okay? This is the meat of why I started getting a ton of phone calls after I gave this to the Northwest Buyers Group. How does technology enhance the customer experience? How do you use, and I wrote a blog about this. I personally have an opinion, and this is where most point of sales don't hit on it. It will be the future of POS. Is the idea that does my point of sale system, do I view it as an expense or a moneymaker? Does that point of sale drive revenue for me? Do I make money? Because if I make money on it, guess what? I don't view it as an expense anymore. Everything becomes an ROI. I don't care if you come in the door and you give me a point of sale system that costs me 3 times as much as I'm paying right now, but I make 5 times that in new profit. Sign me up. That's a great business decision, right? So I mean, like, those are the things that I feel like that's the future of it. And I'll share a story with you guys. One of my customers up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, Jurgensen's, their men's clothing store. Okay, he had, and trust me, you guys are all going to not believe me on this because I didn't at first either. Again, he's part of that group. Hey Heath, yeah, we'll talk eventually. Remember, it was just payments. Didn't really get any traction. Finally goes, yeah, you can see what you can do, but I doubt you're going to beat it. My bank gave me a pretty good deal. It's cost plus 0. Well, let me take a look and make sure there isn't anything padded in there. We have all done that, right? Oh no, he has a Clover Mini with his bank truly at cost plus 0. And I'm like, Heath, how did you, why? Because they made a mistake, and this is how they're making up for it. I don't know what they'll do when the 3 years is up, But for the next 3 years, I only pay interchange. Guess how much time I invested in that account? 0 in that way. Guess how much time I spent building a relationship with Heath, though? Okay, because again, big picture, eventually that changes. And before there was the immersion of some of the ones, so Vend is somebody that I sell a lot of into the men's clothing store space. Retail Cloud is another. Okay? So now all of a sudden, guess what? I do this show. I do this session. Heath is one of the people that called me because he watched it. Because can you tell me a little bit more about how technology can help me grow my business? Sure, Heath, I can do that. Long story short, he went from 2 cash registers and a Clover Mini playing interchange plus 0 to the upfront cost of 2 full Vend workstations to 2 Vend the licenses for it on Pro with Marcelo Advanced Loyalty. And no, I didn't do the payment processing for free, plus my money. So he went and he's now paying roughly, call it $400 a month more than what he was paying before. Why? Because that $400 spent is bringing him more business than before. Not just that, but with the QuickBooks integration with Vend, what he was doing online, 3 hours every Saturday, went to 0. Him as the business owner got back 12 to 15 hours a month. Is that worth $400 for a business owner, $100 a week? Absolutely. This is how providing, again, the technology to enhance the customer experience. So now, the customer experience is, hey, I'm sitting here doing this. I get to sign up for loyalty. I now get text messages. I get these things. He's using that on there. I have another story to help best illustrate it. How many of you guys watch businesses close during COVID in your area? We all did. It's one of the worst things that happened with COVID. People's lives were lost, permanently impacting, and businesses paid the price. Okay, I don't take that stuff lightly. And I'm going to tell a story about Betty's Cake Shop in Morsel, Indiana. Caleb, you're going to be familiar with Betty's. They have the best cakes you could possibly eat. And it was literally, this business was like 50 years old. It had gone into its second round of ownership. So originally the family had started it. They went to retire, and nobody from their family wanted to carry it on. They sold it to another employee that had been there for like 10 or 15 years. Well known, well respected. I can't even tell you how many cakes I bought from this lady. Okay? No, they were not one of my customers, unfortunately. But half of their business was corporate events, retirement parties, birthday parties, and everything else. Well, what happened with COVID? All that stuff went to nothing, right? Nobody's gathering in offices. 50% of their business went poof. What also happened to big birthday party gatherings? They weren't happening either, right? By November, they're posting on Facebook and everything else that they're closing their doors and selling off their equipment. It wasn't because they didn't have a great product. Okay, they had the best cake product in the market. It wasn't because they didn't love their customers. They did. The Facebook responses to them closing was, I mean, you can just feel it, right? It's one of those gut-wrenching area businesses closing that we've all experienced and felt. So why did they fail? They failed because the customer experience was not the core of their business, and they failed to actually run a business in the right way. Not once during those months of struggle did I even get an email from them saying, hey, Keith, we know your kid's birthday is coming up soon. Do you need a cake? You might not need one for 20, but do you need one for 8? Not once did I get a text message about anything. Could you imagine if that business had put the technology in place for the 2 years pre-COVID to gather customer data, names, purchases, when kids' birthdays are, and then had that information to proactively market their customers, they'd still be open today. Guarantee you, people would have responded. If I would have been getting a text message from them going, hey, I know you might not be having a big party. We love you. We need you. Can you come buy a cake from us? The community would have responded, but they had no way to know. A failure to adopt proper technology cost them their business. Wow. And this is why I share these stories, right? Because this is stuff that we all can relate to. This is all stuff that you all have the direct ability to bring to merchants and help them with. And this is not, let me make sure this is back on. So again, and it's what we do isn't the only type of technology. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to play something fun for you guys on this. How many of you guys have seen Coldplay in concert, by any chance? Okay. Did you go to the Dreams tour? Okay. So we were able to do it Soldier Field here back in 2019. Again, pre-COVID, and concerts were awesome. And so this was the experience. For those of you guys who have not experienced Coldplay in concert, especially the Head of Dreams tour, this is the experience. Oh. Let me reconnect to Bluetooth. All right, I'm not gonna try to disrupt it. We're going. So you're not gonna hear it well, but please see it. For those of you online, I'll dub this in. I'll put it in on the thing. But check this out. I want you to see what it was. What do you notice there? Engagement. Okay, engagement. When we walked into that concert, every single person was handed this bracelet. Okay, and they said, you will see on the screen when to pull the tab out to activate it. We all had these bracelets on. We all pulled the tab, and every single one of us became part of the experience for others. That thing was lighting up. When they played Yellow, it was yellow. When it was other songs, it was flashing. I mean, it immersed all around us. Lights. Synchronized LED lights. Technology made that concert experience one of the best I've ever had. Not just because Coldplay does great, but they took it up a notch with technology. Now again, I know that's not payments, but I want that to kind of reinforce the idea that you cannot dismiss the role technology can play in providing an experience. So number 3, extending the experience beyond the walls of your business. Does your website, and yes, this can be directly with you guys, and it's why I talked about Facebook a little bit earlier. Does your website, social media, and any other forms of representation you have, does it properly represent your customer experience? Does it represent ridiculous love for your customer? Are you sharing stories? Are you doing things in a way to take that experience and extend it beyond the walls? And in this case, you guys don't have walls, but beyond the interaction you have with your customers. If it's with a business, and I'm going to kind of speed this up to get TrustWave up here, I'll use an example. I was down in Palm Beach a few weeks ago, okay? And I went and ate. How many of you guys have been to Palm Beach? I know, Capital, yep. All right, so how many of you guys have eaten at Meat Market? You're there, it's got to go there. It's like an SDK, right, but smaller. And I went there the first night on a recommendation. Awesome experience. The staff was great. Prescott, the dining room manager, was cool. The other people, great food. I'm taking pictures, drinks, and everything else. This awesome drink that I had, took a picture of it. They have a little detail with a flag, and I put it on social media. I'm on Instagram. Boom, did this, right? They monitor their Instagram. They took it, they then commented on it, and then sent me a message asking me, hey, can we post this on our Instagram and give you credit? Absolutely you can do that, right? And they did. The next day it was posted in there. Bucan was another restaurant I ate down there. I posted, I had literally some of the best food I've ever had. They had this sweet corn agnoli. I don't know what it is, but I was told to get it, and it was awesome. Took a picture, put it on my story. Best thing I've ever eaten. You know, they saw it, reshared it on their story. That reinforces the experience. It has nothing to do with what happened in the walls. They took my experience I had and continued to extend it beyond the walls of the business. An example that I use with why I sell Vend into these clothing stores, right, is with the advanced marketing program with Marcelo. Not only can Vend track what I buy, let's say, I wear a size 40, 42 jacket, okay, but let's say a business, let's talk before and after. A men's clothing store before would go, I have too many size 40 jackets. What do? They usually put all of their suits on sale. They then spend $600 or whatever to run an ad and doing this and doing that to try to sell size 40 jackets. So they leave money on the table selling stuff they didn't need to sell at a discount, plus they spend a bunch of money trying to get attention, have people come in and ultimately achieve the goal of selling size 40 jackets. Where technology, right, enhances that customer experience, but then extending it beyond, now that same merchant has the ability to go, here's 37 people that wear size 40 jackets that buy from me. I'm going to send them a text message that says, I have too many size 40 jackets. Save 25% if you come in this weekend and buy one. Now they didn't spend the money marketing. They're still selling all the other jackets and suits and everything else the same price. And they did something to get my attention and get me to come back into the door, where more than likely I'll probably buy a belt, maybe a shirt as well. Again, that technology, capturing that information, but then utilizing it to extend. Now I'm sitting at home going, well, that's awesome. And let's say at the bottom of that text, oh, and by the way, you have $20 in credit still to use because of our loyalty program. This is awesome. I know where I'm going on Saturday. I'm going to get a jacket. Maybe a cool one. So, are you engaging your customers? And this is why I asked, if you don't have social media, the story that I just explained with Meat Market, and hypothetically, let's say they're one of my customers, or yes, they're looking at Toast right now. I'm actually, because of the experience, this ties directly in, right? My customer experience. I built a relationship with Prescott, the dining room manager there. Okay, I went back the next night with my friend's son and his fiance, and we did dinner again. Prescott was there, right? Building a relationship with him. He thought my business cards, which I can show you guys anytime, is the coolest one he's ever seen. They look like a poker chip. Okay, I gave him one of my cards. And he goes, and they're with Aloha and not happy, and they're literally swiping transactions. So who are they looking at right now? You mentioned earlier, Toast. Right? They've done the demo. They're looking at bringing in Toast. I've now interrupted that conversation, and I'm trying to get them to look at Symphony. Not only did I go there twice, but then I went down to Boca the next night to Baja Cafe Dos, where I've also built a relationship with the bartender there because of our affinity for tequila, right? And when I'm in that area, I go, guess what? Prescott lives in Boca. He joined me over there. So, and if I didn't have the social media presence, if I didn't sit there and do those things, those opportunities, right? I'm taking my experience. I didn't even talk about people. Prescott didn't even know what I did for a living until we're sitting at Baja Cafe Dos. He goes, what do you do, by the way? Because he knew I knew Lauren from Baja. He goes, who are you? He asked me that. Like, who is this person? This guy just rolls up and knows people, right? And like, just me. I didn't tell him what I did until we were sitting there doing that. I built the customer experience, one, I was having a great time making memories, but I wanted him to have memories as well. Okay? So in closing on this session and getting TrustWave up here, all of this stuff are things I believe that you can do. Right? These are the things that big companies can't. Heartland isn't going to offer this kind of stuff, right? Harbor Touch isn't going to do this. The training and everything that we give you guys on a regular basis, nobody else is doing. We hear it from our resource partners like Retail Cloud, like Venn, that the partners from NAB that immerse themselves into this type of training are way better to deal with and are bringing way more opportunities than any other company in the market. And I'll give you a statistic. And so for those of you that this is your first time, don't make this your last. I pulled our residual numbers on averages for partners from February 2020, pre-COVID. Partners who, and a lot of this is because of Edge, which we'll talk about later, partners in general are up 30% year on year. Okay, so I pulled pre-COVID and I compared it to February, March of this year, up 30%. Partners who participate in these Transcend events and these enhanced trainings that take that one day a month to invest in their portfolio, they're up 66%. Because everybody else is doing the norm. You all being here have made a choice to go beyond the norm. That's why I believe you're capable of doing it, and when you're working with your retailers, your customers are capable of doing this too. It's what Amazon can't do. It's what Macy's can't do. It's what any other big box store cannot do, and they can. And you guys can be the conduit to help make that happen. That's all I have. 3 takeaways on this. Sorry, you can tell I'm really, and to give you a take, I'm really passionate about that topic. You put me in front of 500 people, I can do that, right? And I just simply look at today, payments and point of sale is the vertical I have to deliver an incredible customer experience. The opportunity, remember I talked about at the end, my biggest professional failure created my biggest professional opportunity with each of you guys here. This, with you all, online and here, is me getting to be able to live that passion of providing you guys the best possible experience that I have control of. So 3 takeaways. I believe even as one person, look at your culture. Look at your environment. What are you doing? Where are the details? How are people feeling you when you interact? right? I've got this whole thing on sell on price, lose on price, don't be a loser. And a piece of that is the person. How do they experience you? How are you feeding into that customer experience? Look at those details. Use technology to interact with your customers in the way that they prefer. And this is big, and I mentioned this in another session. Understand age demographics, okay? Gen X, Gen Z, millennials, we all like to be communicated to differently. If somebody says text me, you text them. Somebody says email, you email them. If they say call, you call, and there's a reason. Millennials, we don't like email too much. You should see my amount of unread emails, right? Aside from my NAB mailbox, my other ones are, I skim them fast, and I hate the emails. Text, I love, right? So if you're gonna sell millennial merchant businesses, you better get used to texting. You email them, forget it. Somebody else texts them, that person has an in, okay? Even those types of ways of how you use technology. One of the newest ones that I added was, I downloaded, it took me months to get off their waiting list, Community. How many of you guys have ever heard of Community? This is something I learned from Gary Vee, right? Community is a program. I pay $50 a month for a private text number that people can text me, and they text growth, and all I do is shoot them. I do it usually once or twice a week. I shoot, and these are my customers. We have a few NAB sales partners. They're friends, business owners. I do nothing but send out messages of encouragement and growth mindset aspects. Something that brings a little positivity to their lives. It costs me $50 a month. But I'm doing something different than other people are doing, right? Community. Yep. Yeah, for $50 a month, I can have up to 500 people in my community. And then it scales up from there, right? I get more than 500, I pay more. But it's technology. It's an app. And it's also, so if I sit there, like I sent one this morning and I got 3 responses, right? Like, look at it. A perfect example. My buddy Ryan, who's a business owner, it's CrossFit Haymaker. Okay? I just sent this message out. The people who are on my community got this morning. I sent it at 7:55 a.m. You're going to have an incredible day with a little hand clap and some like firework emoji. Below that, I said, because someone appreciates you. Okay, that's all I sent.
All of the customers in your community see that, or just this one person?
No, all of them. I sent it to the whole community, right? So my buddy Ryan, this is the first time I'm looking at it since I came over here, right? And he goes, thank you, I needed that today. Technology, right? And this isn't, look, I didn't even know that text, and here's what's great about that app, is it all exists in the app. It's not like my text messages are getting blown up. I have to go in the app to read people's responses. It keeps it segmented from my regular stuff. There's, and the reason why I'm saying that is that's nothing that we sell, nothing that we offer, but there is technology at your fingertips and things out there that can help you create, as independent operators, an incredible experience and separate yourself out from competitors. The third thing, understand how technology solutions that you provide can help. Okay, this goes back to POS Pros. This goes back to the content. This goes back to watching the videos in the point of sale or in our partner portal, right? If I didn't know how Ven worked and Marcelo worked, would I have gotten Jurgensen's clothing from Interchange Plus Nothing? Nope. Wouldn't have been able to have a conversation about it. Not at a table, not over the phone. I would have never created the content for this deck in a way that even though I can give this to 500 people, right, and not sell a single merchant account and be ridiculously happy, you better believe, obviously in that point number 2, which I firmly believe on, guess what we do, right? I knew how to weave some of those stories of the stuff that I can directly help that brings monetary value to me into that. If I didn't know it, this whole value-added content wouldn't be as good. So really understand those differences. Thank you all. All right, I'm going to have Brian come on up. And, dude, I am so sorry because that delay up there. So we're gonna get through this, and they might start bringing food in early while you finish up. Hey, Blair, can I go ahead and give him that microphone? For everybody online, again, I am sorry playing catch up and going through all this stuff. We have not had any Q&A time. Please put it in the questions. We will get back to you afterwards. Everybody else, questions during lunch, we'll try to pick this up. Brian, come on up here. I see I kind of put in a taped-in area.
Right, everybody who's watching live. It's about
let's turn that
80
on
of you
there.
over across the 5 different
And then
platforms we're
Nate
going
is
through.
going to control
we will
Mike.
live here, and but I'm going to go live back to Brian over
Yeah.
here, and
Sorry,
I will get to
here's
your
the
questions
clicker,
here.
and I've got
Please text me if you have those
presenter
questions. I would
notes
love to have that.
over here if you have any.
Thanks.
But you have this here, but you can also see the full screen of what everybody else is seeing. Let me do a quick intro. Brian Lewis and Joe from TrustWave. TrustWave is our PCI preferred, our vendor, right? Our partner. So we have PCI Plus in-house. Okay, that's where we help with merchants. TrustWave is a backbone partner on that. Meaning, you know how we have the tier 1, right? They don't have to do anything. They're pay anywhere. There's certain aspects. They don't have to do a dang thing. Okay? You go beyond that, we rely on TrustWave to help merchants get on the phone, walk through their SACs, make sure that if they have any questions on the scans, we have a resource partner here. One of the reasons why we wanted to have PCI as part of this big opportunity roadshow is because it is often overlooked. And I can't emphasize enough, listen to what they're saying. Most people view, and I'm on other Facebook groups, right? It's amazing how much I see, PCI, and people disregard it. Sorry, that is the wrong attitude to have. Card brands need it. Like, it is a fundamental backbone of accepting payments. And we cannot dismiss PCI as just a pain in the butt thing, right? It's easy to do because it doesn't make us money, but it's a necessary thing to do what we do. So even if you have merchants that don't need anything, still understanding some of the core, understanding, hey, when you connect your Pay Anywhere device, I understand you don't have to do a scan, but don't connect it to something that has an open network access. Understand the segmented network. Do the little things to help merchants avoid any kind of issues. Like I said, especially with the big opportunities, like I mentioned with an SDK, like PCI really becomes an issue, and it's something that they look at from a financial and time aspect. So on that note, I'll turn it over to you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much, Keith. I appreciate that. And we'll kind of start on that then. Hello, how's everybody doing today? Hello to everybody virtually as well. My name is Brian Lewis. I'm an Alliance Manager here at TrustWave. You may have also heard the name Secure Trust. Secure Trust is the division of TrustWave that handles the PCI compliance side of things. So you'll see TrustWave's name, Secure Trust. We're all connected, one big company, one big happy family, basically. So I am the Alliance Manager through Secure Trust. I have Joe Haran here, who works on the what we call Global Compliance and Risk Services. And so we are going to go over a little bit today, just some basics about who Secure Trust and TrustWave are, what PCI compliance is, and then how does that relate to your merchants, big and small, the level 3, level 4 merchants that are your typical mom and pop run, just shops, all the way up to the larger enterprise level accounts. So to kind of jump into it, I want to give you guys a little bit of background about myself because I do have a little unique experience from the average person in our industry. So I actually started off where all of you are sitting today. I was an independent rep right out of college. I worked in an ISO office that I started up on my own with about 4 or 5 sales reps working beneath me and a couple of call center people. So I know the position that you're in, and I know every person will go, PCI compliance, such a pain in the butt. My merchants, all they do is complain about it. All they do is have problems about it. It's kind of a necessary evil. I hate to really kind of talk about that. So I understand that position, and so I'm gonna try to, let you guys know how you can utilize PCI compliance to your advantage instead of it being a disadvantage to you. As Keith said, it's not necessarily a revenue maker, but the knowledge that you can bring in about PCI compliance is going to separate you from the other sales reps or the other companies out there selling this type of product that you guys are doing. And especially in the case of a larger, client enterprise level situation, they're going to be very appreciative of the base level knowledge that you have. And I'm not expecting you guys to be experts after today, but if we can get you to the point of where you have a better understanding of how to speak on these points, then that's going to be the goal for today. So I'll pass off to Joe to give a little bit of his experience and background as well.
Sure. So I've been with Secure Trust for 5 years now, and kind of tangential to Brian's side of the business, I work with the large organizations, build and maintain their compliance. So when I see large, maybe like firms that you see have commercials on the Super Bowl for.
Perfect. Yeah, and we also have one more team member. His name is Caesar Henriksen. He is not able to attend today, but he's basically the project manager, and we all work in coordination behind the scenes. A lot of you are not going to necessarily work with us day to day. If you have a merchant that's having a PCI problem, you're not going to be necessarily reaching out to us directly. But what's nice is that we are in the background and aware of everything that's going on. So when there are escalations, bigger problems, when you bring it to NAB or North American Bank Card on their side with a question, they're usually passing it on to us, and then we kind of take it from there. Myself and Caesar kind of quarterback everything in regards to the merchants, your specific level 4, level 3 merchants, and then anything outside of that is when we bring in somebody like Joe to kind of handle the larger level 1, level 2 opportunities, which you guys could be running into when you start talking to enterprise level clients. So to kind of jump in a little bit to who Secure Trust, TrustWave are, as I mentioned, it can get a little confusing. TrustWave was the original brand. What we did as Secure Trust is we created a separate division to focus on the specific PCI compliance aspect of it. So we kind of divided it into 3 regions, basically. We have our global compliance and risk services, which are going to be, the larger internal compliance for these larger organizations. It's going to make sure that the largest organizations that are doing millions of transactions a year are staying compliant. And then we have our normal kind of small to medium-sized merchant compliance program, which most of your portfolios are probably going to fall under. I would say probably about 80 to 90% of your portfolio is going to fall in to the small to medium-sized category, in which case they're doing their own self-assessments, doing the quarterly scans for online websites, and basically doing everything on their own. But we also offer web risk monitoring, which is something that can be included in on the services to monitor the online merchants. NAB has something like that already, where they're constantly monitoring your online accounts that you have up to make sure nothing malicious is going on, make sure there's no vulnerabilities, they're not selling anything they shouldn't be. That's all types of products that can be looked at through the web risk monitoring. So we kind of divide our services up into these 3 areas of Secure Trust. In your guys' case, you'll see the PCI Plus name, generally speaking, but that's basically what we cover. TrustWave is more managed securities. That's what's going to handle the overall infrastructure of the larger organization. And what's nice about our basically organization, the way that we're run, is we all work hand in hand. So when there's an opportunity that arises that needs more input, more information, needs a higher level understanding of things, we can bring in Joe's team on the level 1, level 2 side, or if it needs even more than that, we can bring in the TrustWave side to work on the managed security side of things. So by dividing it up, it gives us a little more agility and ability to cover any possible need your merchants could need. Anything from the small to medium-sized merchant all the way up to the large enterprise level clients you guys will hopefully be going after, after today. So why is PCI compliance important? So basically, what you're more concerned about is what can happen when you're not compliant. Have you guys, a couple of years back, Target had a huge breach. Are you guys familiar with that? Did you hear about that on the news? Exactly. So that is one of the biggest concerns out of most companies when they want to do PCI compliance is we need to stay compliant to make sure we are never breached. And while you hear about the Targets and the larger corporations that have been breached before in the past, you very rarely hear about the small to medium-sized merchants. And what's crazy to think is those are 90% or so of the actual breaches that occur throughout the industry. Of course, the large targets are going to make them news because it's millions and millions of dollars or millions and millions of people's information that are at risk, but it's really the smaller merchants that aren't always prepared for those types of breaches to take place. So that's one of the importance of PCI compliance and maintaining that compliance is to ensure that nothing like that could possibly happen. In fact, I just had a merchant the other day. They are an industrial supplier for restaurants. They sell all the plates, dishes, and everything that you would get. They have an online platform, not necessarily considered a level 1, level 2 merchant. They were a level 3, level 4, even though they're doing millions of dollars a month in sales. And they actually had a potential breach come up. And immediately, you almost have to put everything on pause. You can't really accept any more payments because you have to isolate where that incident took place and try to figure out, okay, where in our infrastructure did that breach take place? Is it on the entering of the transaction at the point of checkout? Is it in the processing of the transaction? Is it of the storing of the information on the merchant side? And when those breaches occur, it can have huge ramifications as to what can happen to the business. And I'll go into that here a little bit more.
And just to add into that, breaches and negative PR is horrible. When I speak with merchants of my size, what's interesting is they're most concerned about their clients. Clients these days are sophisticated, and they're asking these merchants, are you PCI compliant? So that's actually a business revenue driving event too. So we'll see that a lot as well.
Absolutely, good point. Thank you for that. So what can we do then to kind of make sure that PCI compliance stays important? Why is it important? And what can happen then when a breach does kind of occur? So obviously, one of the nice things about PCI compliance is it sets up the infrastructure for the merchant, and it helps them better understand how they accept payments. Where can these vulnerabilities take place? When they're filling out their compliance survey, they're having to go through and actually check out each part of the process for accepting payments and go, okay, are we accepting payments, sorry about that, are we accepting payments in the best possible way and safest possible way? Are we keeping people's credit card information or personal identification info after the time of the transaction? Are we storing it as just a 4-digit code or a credit card number at the end? Are we saving their full address and information? And basically what it does is it helps the merchant to better understand their system and what they need to do to better protect their information, basically. It clarifies for them where that information is stored and how it's inputted. And so what can happen is by obviously maintaining compliance, you uphold your brand name. When you have no problems, your customers feel very safe and secure utilizing your products. I don't know how many times you guys have gone on to maybe an online website, you've never been there before, you go to the checkout process, and it looks a little shady. Things aren't adding up, things aren't looking all nice and uniform, and immediately you go, ooh, I don't know if I want to enter in my credit card information here. And I'm sure many of you guys at home too, you know, especially with COVID hitting, a lot more businesses are moving online. And so a lot of them are not used to making that transition from a retail setting to an online setting, and then what that changes in their payment environment. And so what you want to do is by maintaining compliance, it ensures that you are setting it up in a safe and secure manner, and it's upholding the value of your company name. And so what that does then, obviously in turn, is increases customer confidence. When you go to a website, the checkout looks nice and uniform with everything else that's on the website. Everything's matching up in terms of branding, colors, products, everything like that. You feel much safer, much secure. You don't really think about it. You enter in your payment information and you go on about your day. So that's kind of the bonuses of setting up, you know, PCI compliance and maintaining it. Now, obviously, as I mentioned before, not only does it ruin your reputation if you do have a breach, but some of the other bigger things that happen with it are the costs associated with a breach. A lot of people don't think about that because they go, oh, how many times has somebody actually breached? I've been in business for 20 years and I've never realized a breach. I've never seen a breach. And in a lot of cases, they very well could have had a breach and they're just not aware of it because they never put the securities and practices in place to really look at things to that extent and go, you know what? There is a vulnerability here, and we could have had a breach, and I just have no idea. There's plenty of businesses that you talk to when they do have a breach, and they are like, whoa, that happened a month ago, 2 months ago, before they're even starting to realize a pattern in their transactions. Maybe all of a sudden, you know, they're starting to get more penny transactions, testing out credit card numbers, or they're starting to get invoices for products, pricing that they don't even sell on their website, and it takes a couple of weeks or a couple of months sometimes, and at that point, the problem is just going bigger and bigger and bigger. And so when those happen, what types of fees can come up? Well, first off, investigation costs. When you have a breach, you have to bring in an outside investigator to try to basically figure out where that vulnerability takes place. Even though you may have found it as a business, you still need an outside source to verify that that is the only vulnerability that's on the network, because there very well could be other spots that are allowing hackers to get in as well. And so the investigation costs money. Then from there, the remediation costs to actually fix the problem once they find it or go through the process of trying to fix the problem is another additional cost. And then on top of that, you get fines and fees from the card brand networks charging you for the breach. And if you don't have a certain type of breach coverage or insurance, that cost can be as high as $100,000 for a first infraction and can keep going up from there. So it's something that you don't think it's that big of a deal, but the cost can add up very quickly, and before you know it, you're in 6 figures deep, and you're still in the middle of trying to figure out what the problem even is. So that's why it's important to maintain compliance, make sure your merchants are filling out that SAQ every year, because it's going to ensure that as long as they're staying compliant, that's going to help them keep in place and know, okay, here's where the attacks can take place. Here's where our website may have been weak before, and we need to improve upon going forward here. So that's kind of why PCI compliance is important, and something that you do want to bring up to your merchants and make sure that they know that you're aware of at least how it works and the kind of basic understanding. Obviously, anything more complex than this, we're going to help you out. If there's a potential breach with your client, those are the types of things that we want you to reach out to your NAB team first. They will get us involved almost right away. And then we're going to work with you guys to make sure we take the appropriate steps for basically fixing the issue at hand. So now what we're going to do is you've heard me mention level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 clients. To give you guys a better understanding of what exactly that means, I'm going to pass it off to Joe here to explain kind of the level 1 and level 2 differences.
So I guess to explain the level 1, level 2, I'm going to just poke at the level 3 for starters, where most merchants that you're going to deal with in level 4, all they really have to do is fill out that self-assessment questionnaire and demonstrate external vulnerability, passing vulnerability scans quarterly. But the level 1, the primary difference that we see is instead of a self-assessment questionnaire, the level of scrutiny is so much higher that an independent firm, at this case, has to come in and review that cardholder data environment. And we actually are one of those independent firms, a qualified security assessor, a QSA. And the same thing goes for level 2. A majority of these, you can actually get away with your own SAQ, much less scrutiny. However, it's become an industry trend, I'd say, within the past 2 years or so, that acquiring banks are asking these larger level 2s to have their SAQ reviewed by a QSA firm or actually completed by an internal security assessor. And I would say the primary difference between the SAQ and the report on compliance for the number 1, besides the level of scrutiny and just the breadth of effort, is that like the SAQ, honestly, have you talked to your merchants? You can complete it in under a week. The report on compliance done in an external audit takes about 90 working days.
Yeah, so, and the process involved for level 1 to level 2 is obviously going to be much more involved than the level 3, level 4 merchants. You know, the level 3, level 4 merchants are what most of you guys are accustomed to. As you can kind of see here, it's defined by number of transactions. So that's not sales numbers, that's number of transactions. So that's where it can get confusing sometimes, because some people will go, well, my merchant's doing $1 million a month, are they a level 1? Well, no, not necessarily, unless they're doing, you know, multiple millions of transactions. That's what determines the differences. And basically, the level 3, level 4, what you're going to have is you're going to have your annual self-assessment questionnaire. And I'll go into a little more depth about what that all entails now with Secure Trust on some next slides.
And do you mind just talking about the transactions? Sometimes some of your merchants will say, you know what, I don't store any data. The 3 key words are store, process, and transfer. So that's what counts as a transaction, right? It's not just how many credit cards do I store.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you for adding that in. So this is something that you guys don't necessarily, you know, it's not great knowledge to have. Like, it's not something that you need to know specifically, but it's nice to know where your different levels come in, because that's where it's going to determine what you need to get done for the merchants that you're working with. So when you guys are talking to these enterprise level clients, you really want to find out, which I'm sure most of you are already asking, What does your processing statement look like? What do your current sales numbers look like? So you should be probing those questions anyways. And that will automatically tell you, okay, is this a level 1, level 2 opportunity, or is this just our standard type of merchant set? And when you guys identify a level 1 or level 2 opportunity, we'll kind of go into that a little bit more in depth, but that's when you would get the NAB team involved on the support side. They would reach out to us, and then from the Secure Trust side, we would work in coordination to get probably an introductory call set up, and then kind of take things from there, which Joe will probably go a little bit more in depth in a little bit later on here. So what I wanted to kind of step into then is the point of view that a lot of your merchants are going to be seeing, whether they are an enterprise level or level 3, level 4 merchant. This is kind of the process that they're going to go through. So first and foremost, as we mentioned before, you're going to see the PCI Plus name. So you're not going to see Secure Trust. You're not going to see TrustWave on any of your paperwork or anything like that. NAB has it white labeled to come up as PCI Plus. So the idea behind this is to create, a co-branded experience so your merchants don't feel like they are utilizing a third-party, source basically. So the idea is to try to make it one seamless integration with all of NAB services to just uphold the NAB name even more so. So what's going to happen first is they're going to get a registration email. So basically, as soon as you guys sign up a new merchant, they are being uploaded to our portal by NAB's back-end team. And from there, in that same moment that they get approved, NAB sends us over their contact information. We have it all directly connected up through a data feed exchange, so it doesn't require any sort of person on NAB's side to go ahead and push it through. We have systems in place to automatically recognize when a customer of yours is going on the Secure Trust platform. And basically what happens is they get inputted into our portal, and immediately we send out a registration email. This registration email is a way for your merchants to first fill out their initial contact information, set up their account, their login, and really kind of get access to that portal. Very similar in a way that the merchant has to go into their merchant portal to view their statements. They have to go into a separate portal in order to view their PCI compliance. So basically what's nice about this is you'll kind of see it's a little tough to tell on some of these screens, but the basic registration is just asking for the business name, phone number, your name, your contact information, a login, a password, and obviously you want to keep that safe and secure, or tell your merchants to keep that safe and secure. A lot of times we'll get merchants that will share logins and passwords. Obviously the whole name of the game is PCI compliance, so if you're sharing the name and password to your portal of the PCI compliance, well, we're in a little bit of trouble then to begin with. So we want to make sure that we can add multiple users to merchant accounts. So if they need multiple users, talk with your NAB support team. They can work with us. We can get more than one person added. They would get a registration email, nice and simple. We're trying to make this process as easy as possible because, let's face it, merchants are lazy. They don't want to do anything that doesn't, have to do with their own business. If they don't think it's going to drive them any money and it's just going to take up their time, they're going to be very hesitant to move forward with this. So we've tried to make the process literally as simple as possible. So once you go through this registration process, it's going to take you through to the actual homepage. And from there is where you want to start filling out the SAQ, self-assessment questionnaire. And what's nice about this is, once again, we've tried to make this process as easy as possible. So they're going to create a merchant profile, basically. And that profile is going to determine, a little bit beforehand where we think they're going to fall on the SAQ based on just some simple questions about how you accept transactions, place of business, do you have an online presence, and really trying to better understand your payments environment. And then from there, we're able to determine what type of SAQ you're going to be going to use. So what's nice about this, though, is it's all automated now. No more paper surveys, no more sending something out that's 30 or 40 pages long. Everything is all done online, which makes it nice and easy, makes it look a lot better. Yeah, question?
Sorry, so the merchant, how long the process takes for this?
So
Get into the end.
that's a good question. I mean, in terms of the entire process, what's nice is we have a workflow. So it's going to depend on the type of environment of the merchant. You know, if they're in a simple, you know, SAQ BIP, they're going to have fewer questions, which is utilizing a terminal with an IP internet connection to it. If they're utilizing something like that, it's going to be a simple workflow process. You know, you're looking at maybe 100 questions or less. They could fill it out in an hour or two. But if you have somebody that's doing omni-channel, where they have online, they're connected up with retail, they have other sources where they're key entering in credit card transactions, that can be 200 to 300 questions, and now starts getting a little bit more involved, can go a couple more hours, depending on how tech savvy, you know, a merchant can be. What's nice though about our process is outside the workflow, giving you a little progress bar as to how far you've actually reached. It tells you how much you have left. We also have scroll over options or mouse over options. So if you come to a point at a question where you don't quite necessarily understand what they're asking, what a word may mean, you can scroll over it and it'll give a little description as to what we are trying to look for from that question. So a lot of times, you know, merchants will kind of take a first look and go, oh my gosh, this is so much, this is way too difficult, I can't answer this, and don't even get in through the questions. We really want to try to urge the merchants, though, to start going through the actual SAQ, because once they actually read the questions, we've tried to simplify things in a way where it's not confusing. We're not trying to use a lot of terminology that a merchant or an average person is not going to know. We want to make this process easy. We want them to get compliant. That's the whole idea behind this. So we've tried to make the process as easy as possible. And what's nice is let's say they are going through it and they're still having issues. Well, we're going to have a support team available right directly within the portal where they could chat or call in and ask their questions right over the phone. So while they may not handhold them through the rest of the SAQ, you know, they can help them out with, you know, helping clarify what something may mean or what a word is looking for or what a terminology, what are they looking for? What's the meaning behind it, basically? So we try to make the process as simple, as seamless as possible. Everything's in the PCI Plus branding throughout, so it looks like it's part of the NAB portfolio. They really don't know they're necessarily working with Secure Trust. What's also nice is we actually have dedicated support lines, which I'll go into a little bit more, specific just for NAB clients. So when they call into this phone number, they'll automatically know who they're associated with. So that's kind of the base, you know, product that we offer within the portal is the SAQ questionnaire. For the online merchants, we also offer scanning. So anytime a customer has an online website, they're actually required to scan that website to make sure they're not selling anything they shouldn't be. They don't have any language on there that is deemed offensive. So they're gonna go through those scans, and the scans are meant to be set up monthly. A lot of acquirers require it quarterly. We set it up monthly to just make sure that there's no vulnerabilities found on the website and nothing that shouldn't be happening. So that's a separate process that merchants have to set up on their own. But everything that's set up in the portal has green check marks or little red X's that tells you, yeah, you passed this, you're good to go on your SAQ, go down to your scans, or yeah, your scans are all set up, you're ready to run, finish your SAQ. Everything we try to do is we try to tell the merchant, identify for them, yes, this is completed, you're good to go, or no, this is not completed, but you still only have 30% of the way. And what's nice is you can come back to it. If you start it and you realize you're having issues and you need to get one of your IT consultants or your back-end IT on the line to help you out, you can save your progress of where you're at, go back to it, and start right back up again. So once again, just trying to make this process as easy as possible. So some additional products that we offer in addition to the SAQ, which will all come included in on the package. First and foremost, security awareness education training. So this is actually a program that you can tell your merchants to log into through their PCI portal once again, and it will actually give them little training videos about PCI compliance, what PCI compliance is, how to maintain compliance, best safety practices. So it's a way to educate your merchants without you guys necessarily having to do it. So it's a great tool for you guys to show your merchants that, hey, just because we set you up, we're not just gonna leave you there. We're not gonna make it, you know, this is it, and best of luck to you, you know, staying compliant from here on out. This is a way for them to stay educated and make sure they're staying up to date with what they need to do. On top of that, we have a trusted commerce seal. It's a great way for the merchant to be able to place this on their website to show to their customers that yes, we are PCI compliant. We've gone through the SAQ. We are compliant, and now we can present this to you to make your customers feel safer about this. And then once again, the web malware monitoring, similar to the web risk monitoring, just monitoring the websites of merchants as a whole and making sure that nothing is funny business, no funny business is being sold, no improper language is being used, all that good stuff. So the first two are especially relevant to your merchants. The third one is something that just kind of happens in the background for you guys, not something you can offer to the actual merchants. And then finally is the support team. So this is where you guys and your merchants, this is kind of the most important information, is that email address and that phone number are the dedicated email and phone number for your merchants in regards to PCI compliance. So as I mentioned earlier, the fact that NAB has this set up currently, not all partners get their own dedicated line, so that's something that we've set up specifically for NAB. So when you call into that line, they have an understanding that you are a NAB client already. They know about the PCI Plus name, and they're able to uphold that brand recognition once again, making the product seem even stronger. And then this is the way that my team internally is able to kind of keep track of everything as well. When it's sent to this email, we're able to keep a running record of who's reaching out, when did they reach out, what was the issue, so then we can step in as needed. If there's a level 1, level 2 opportunity, we can get Joe involved. If there's a question that somebody's having with an SAQ, or if maybe they didn't get their registration link, then me and my team with Caesar can get involved. So it's great because we have all these different support areas that are gonna be able to help in times of the different problems that may come up. So we have different support teams. It's not just one necessarily support team answering every single question. I know that can be frustrating sometimes when you call in and they go, oh, well, I don't really know this, or my higher level manager knows this better. We're gonna diagnose what the problem is and get you on the call with the right team right away. So it's good to have this information. Once again, Keith said we'll be sharing this slideshow as well, so you guys will be able to have it if you can't see it right now. But that is the best email and phone number to use when you guys run across any issues or questions you may have. And now we're moving into level 1, level 2, so I'll pass it off to Joe here.
Yeah, so say your merchant knows they're going to graduate from a 3 to a 2, or 2 to a 1, and they're looking at you, you got this relationship built, and they're looking for advice. Share their name with Keith. Keith's going to share their name with us. So we helped pioneer the industry standards, writing what the PCI Council is looking for from the very beginning. We've completed 17,000 rocks throughout our history over the past 20 plus years. We do 400 rocks annually, which is, both of those lead the industry. So no matter where your merchant's going, whether they're mature or looking to build and maintain, we have the services so they can address their PCI compliance. It's literally our bread and butter and the reason why my group is in business. So just know it's a safe, clean referral. If they need a little help, send them Keith's way, send them our way. Really, that should just be the takeaway is Secure Trust, like, we got it down. Happy to walk them through, and we're happy to invite you on the call as well.
Yeah, perfect, yeah. I mean, as he mentioned, I mean, we offer so many different services here. We want to make sure that we're taking care of your level 1, level 2, enterprise level customers. And, the first and foremost, we need to figure out how many transactions. Do they even qualify for the level 1, level 2, opportunities? And if they do, these are the sorts of things that they're going to have to go through no matter what, whether it's through NAB, whether it's through their previous processor. They're probably already doing it. And if they're not doing it, well, this is a great opportunity for you to sound knowledgeable then and go, hey, here's what you should be doing. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like what you're doing right now? If you're not, we can put you in touch with our team to learn more about that. And that's when myself, Joe, we want to step in, work with you guys. And a lot of this, what's nice is you don't need to know this information. You don't need to be the experts on this. You just need to know the basics of what it involves. Secure Trust handles all the sales cycle from here when it comes to these types of services. So it's not something that is required by your team to have an expertise on here. So with that, we just have some last industry insights. When we pass out this PowerPoint, you'll be able to click on those, learn a little bit more about some of the ways that you can work with PCI compliance. And any questions or anything like that, you can go to that for reference as well. So to kind of wrap it up, 3 things that we kind of want take away from today. Obviously, first and foremost, take PCI seriously. All of your merchants have to get compliant in some way or another. All of your merchants, if they're online, will have to run scans in some way or another. And if they're not already doing it, you're gonna have to basically make sure that that's taken care of then. After that, assist as a guide for your merchants. They're not expecting you guys to be the experts on this subject matter, but you need to know the basics of what it entails. You need to know where they qualify, what types of services they may need, and then what we can provide as a back-end service to them. And then finally, if working these large enterprise accounts, just know that there's assistance there for you as needed. We're not expecting you to know all the services they may need. We're not expecting you to know what they're doing right now, what they're not doing. But if you can at least get an understanding and know, hey, there's more that you need to do outside of the QSA, that's what we're gonna be here for. And so we really want you guys to get involved and make sure that if that type of opportunity comes out, you reach out to your team, and we will be sure to make sure that we include you guys, because obviously you have the relationship. That's one of the biggest things Keith was talking about earlier, is the relationship building and maintaining that relationship. And so we want to make sure that you guys are providing the best value to your merchants, so we want to work in coordination with you to make it a successful partnership and relationship for everybody. And so with that, questions?
Yeah, I'll take back over. So here's what we're going to do. For everybody online and in the room, we have basically lunch break for another 35 minutes. So if we can do this, for people that are online, if you put any questions in the question section, we will get with the TrustWave team and correlate that. I'm going to ask anybody here if you guys have any questions for TrustWave specifically. Let's go ahead and ask them during the lunch. And so we can kind of have a moment to talk and whatever else. So thank you guys very much.
Great.
I've got
Thank you.
We've got one quick announcement. So like I said, they're already starting food service. If you came in late and you didn't get a food card filled out, please see Julio, yes. Please see Julio, and he'll get you hooked up. Also, if you came in the back, we have name badges. Blair's sitting back there again right now. I need to make sure that you guys sign, not just to get your name badge, but also sign on the form and have your proper partner ID listed by your name too. That helps me afterwards when I go through all the internal stuff I have to do for these shows. So please make sure you've signed in and we have your partner ID number written down on there for reference later. We will, for everybody online, we will be back. You might see some stuff going on. You might see the screen flicker a little bit as we kind of play with a few things. We will be back here in 35 minutes, so 1:30 Central Time, 2:30 Eastern Time to kick off. I will have Sean from Cash Buoy, who's sponsoring this event, up for a couple minutes, and then Robert Kramer will be presenting Retail Cloud on behalf of POS Pros. Thank you all for sticking with us. We'll see you in 35 minutes.
All right, everybody, we'll be live back. I'm going to stop and start the stream for those who have hung on and stayed on. Thank you so much. And I will be sending out an email, or this, just hit refresh in about 35 minutes, and we'll be live. We'll have a countdown probably going in about 20 minutes. See you guys later.